Well. Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Janthir Wilds. Indeed, the final episode as far as the main story is concerned. There will be at least one more video in this playlist because there's still so much stuff for us to cover. I've had people in Discord asking me to do like decorations and fishing and stuff. I do want to engage in those things. I just don't know how they do as like stream content. So we'll see. But anyway, as far as like lore and stuff's concerned, today we will play the final instance of the main story. We're going to cover some other stuff as well, and you know, so like, in fact, I'll swap characters here, really, and we'll just get the big main stuff, and then on the next part, I don't know, we'll see. I'll have to take stock. So there'll be at least one more video after this. There might be two. I don't know. There might even be three. I don't know. But yeah, so hi guys, starting a little bit later today as well. It's been a busy day for me, and I've just eaten. I just had pie and mash, so I'm going to be incredibly bloated. In short order, I suppose. But yeah, so first thing I wanted to do was come to the lowland shore where we are. The story will end here, but we essentially have map comp. It's just there's like a POI we didn't visit. Look at this, 4 POIs, 2 vistas. So if I grab those, I don't remember if my Seekers the Obscure Let's Play last year, I don't remember if I actually ended up getting map comp on stream for you guys, but we're going to do it here. So this is the Vale Gazebo.
There's a stir in the water, and I don't trust it.
And they're fishing over the edge, which is kind of cool and kind of nice. And actually, you can see them grabbing the fish as well. That's nice. There's a couple of events like this Drake here that I haven't done yet. It'd be cool if these guys have some dialogue. So we'll grab this. There's going to be a Q&A section with lots and lots of cool messages and fun things to talk about there. I guess I'm just going to go a bit scattershot here. There's a vista over here, so let's go grab that. We'll do the final instance, and there's a couple of achievements as well. In fact, you can see that they're eyeballed over on the top right. Now, there's this one from Janthir Wilds, the Lowland Wisps. This doesn't look too interesting, and I have heard from you guys that it's not too interesting. So we might squeeze it in, but actually I want to take precedence. If you may remember a few episodes ago, we did a side quest from Seekers the Obscure that I'd missed, which was really cool. Had some big Mabon dialogue and Isgaran stuff. Well, there's another thing. Sidoni is this character we've talked about a lot. I'm going to do a quest to do with Sidoni. It's very, very, very short. And in fact, I'm just going to teach you guys something a little bit about Seekers the Obscure. Like in terms of its achievements and endgame and stuff, which I didn't really focus on before. I actually was very close to skipping this episode of Janthir Wilds today, and instead of doing Janthir Wilds, doing Let's Play Secrets of the Obscure a year later, like doing an episode that I drop in that other playlist. And I thought that'd be kind of a cool idea, but then for people in the future, it's going to get really messy and weird in terms of following the playlist along. So I'm not going to do that. We'll just put the Secrets of the Obscure stuff in here, where it's relevant to Janthir Wilds. So okay, so we get that vista. I think I actually said to you guys that I was going to get all this stuff, so all I had to do was step to the side. But I don't want to visit these areas of the map on my first ever playthrough and not have it be live there on the first ever playthrough, you know, because that's what the point of this series is. So yeah, aside from that, what else has been going on? Well, quite a lot. There's been so much prep for Final Fantasy going on. You know, I'm going into a lot of effort to get the sound right and all this stuff. And, you know, people on Discord basically just said, oh, you know, I'm watching the streams on my phone, or, you know, it's second monitor content. And, like, I get that. I'm like, why am I bet as well just put it up, you know. But anyway, so yeah, I've got that. Some other stuff, which I'm not ready to talk about just yet. But okay, so what was this called? This was called the Springer's Base. So it's called the Springer's Base, and there is a Springer here. I have a question. Oh my god, wait, is it possible that this is it? I have been told in one of the comments that there are more... Look at Mace's there, absolutely shredded that thing. That there are more jumping puzzly things to do. Have we just stumbled upon one? It's got the telltale torches. But the thing is, what's to stop me from having been already at the top of this? This is cool. This is just kind of like a hidden climb up the cliff that you might not otherwise have spotted. I wonder if these springers are rentable if I didn't own one. Would I own one in theory? Not even sure how a lot of this stuff maps out now. Seriously, why does it feel like I'm about to find a cave and that there'll be a JP in there? Like, look at this up here. They're tempting me this way. Through those vines? No. Jesus, it's such a climb. Oh, it's there. Look at this. This is kind of amazing. Wait, is there a race or an adventure to climb up this really fast? Oh, yeah, that's another thing to do. There are a lot of adventures I haven't even stumbled upon. Like, I've played the adventures that I've stumbled upon, but we haven't even found some of them. Well, there you go. So we managed to climb up. That feels like there could be a race to climb to the top or something. And this is quite a pretty area as well, actually, here with the colours. All right. Also, people were saying that this is the homestead. I didn't really look into it in the Discord, but is this it here? It's not unfogged for me if it is. Apparently when you get in and you look at the map, maybe, it seems to suggest that it's all the way over there. I love this idea of each mini-X pack will continue to add more homesteads. They might... I'm kind of not that excited about them selling it on the gem store. I don't think anyone who says selling shit on the gem store is being sincere. I mean, I'm excited from the perspective of it's nice to see the game get funding, right? But... So let's just leave that aside. The idea of lots of homesteads coming in, and when they come in, they're actually using just fun, weird little areas around the world. I think that's really cool. It's sort of like, you know, when they were selling lobby passes, and there was a little lobby pass to get into an extra area of Heart of Thorns. Thought that was cool, but this would be a bit more meaningful. Finally, we can return to Claw Island. If they gave me a Claw Island homestead, oh my god, it'd be really good, right? There's a lot of potential there that I'm not sure I've talked enough about. In terms of like how excited I am with that stuff. And it's weird because, you know, the lore and the main story is kind of overshadowed most of this series, but I figure I'll point it out anyway. Right, so let's do our old technique of hovering over these to get shit to flash that we haven't seen yet. So, POI down there. We're actually fairly close to it. Oh my god, the audio is really nice here. We'll Warclaw as we go. There's also a mastery point I never collected over at this waterfall, so we can grab that too. Like, this series I'm not necessarily saying has to be a 100%, you know, coverage series. I'm not going to do absolutely everything, but I feel like we've got a good majority here, and it's been fun, and the pace has been good, so I'm quite happy with that. Wait, the first gem store homestead was added today? Really? Oh, speaking of the gem store, I've got a thing to show you when we swap to Lyhr. What? Seriously? They've done one, and it's today? Well, what is it then? There's 2 more explicit achievements that are jumping puzzle adjacent. Really now? Well, there we go. So we can grab this. Very nice. I'm so happening with DLC Sharpen. It's so good. I've tried using it in Final Fantasy as well, but I feel like it looks better in Guild Wars for whatever reason. I mean, it looks good in both games, but... Oh, it's just decorations. Oh, no, I'm talking about... Oh, yeah. Selling decorations in the gem store, I kind of expect. I meant, like, whole new locales. And by the way, my big issue with selling locations in the gem store, if I have one, I'm just not excited about it, alright? I think it's fine. I'm just not excited about it. But if I'm not excited, it's because I feel like if they don't... They tend to... If something's in the gem store, it has, like, no quests, really. It doesn't have any dialogue. It feels... It's just a direct trade for a skin or a service of some kind. And, like, there's no magic there. ArenaNet, fair play to them, did once upon a time try to do, like, quests within the gem store. Do you remember, like, the mini rock, I think it was, or whatever? But players clearly didn't like it. You know, so, and there's a whole conversation we could get into there about gem store existing for people who don't really want to play the game. They just want to bypass shit. But, so, there's just no love for it, you know? There's, like, if I get a new home, I kind of want... to have an adventure towards that home. I want to have someone talk to me about that home or whatever. Now, for the purposes of putting homesteads in prior locations, maybe that's not such a big deal. But, yeah, I don't know. It's just not that exciting, right? But yeah, decorations, I've assumed that they'd be selling in there regardless. It's funny because...
Hunter. Glad you're here, I am. Thought Barbell was sending me on an easy hunt, just being a reindeer and all. Something's...
I'm going to mute that because I think we heard that before. Do they double up with guild halls, maybe? I mean, that's a funny thing, isn't it? Where they haven't really... Wait, what did this guy just say to me? You're the Wayfinder. I've heard you've been helping out around the village. Would you like to help this here old-timer? Yeah, what do you need? The cliffs are beautiful but deadly. We light braziers along them in case fog rolls through and blocks all visibility. A death sentence for sure. And each day I climb up and down, torch and pour to light the braziers. But I'm starting to feel my age. Take the torch and light them for me. You reach each brazier by gliding to them. What if my torch burns out? Oh, this is so... This is one of the JPs, surely. This is like the one in Grothmar, right? Wait, but where are the torches? He said glide down. If I walk law... Oh, I'm not allowed to mount while I'm holding it. Cool. I see what looks like a brazier over there, but is that the first one? Return to the start. Okay, I get a return to the start button. If my torch goes out. Okay, so let's see. I'm going to glide. But we're not going to be able to go through. Oh look, we've managed to stumble upon one, guys, just by getting the POI. Okay, I lit that. Surely the Jade bot invalidates this, though. I mean, Jesus. Look, they're expecting me to have fallen all the way down there and then do a mini jumping puzzle to get up, but I've just bypassed it anyway. Do that one, and then I guess we would cross back over. I don't really get any details about how many there are to do. Did we go this way, maybe? Holy shit. This really gives a good sense of the scale of the map, doesn't it? Oh my god. Oh, there's one. On the ground. Do we keep going? And am I on a time limit? I don't have an achievement yellow thing on me, which makes me think that maybe I'm not currently progressing. Oh god, you would think that... Oh, there's one up there! Ah, we missed one. Okay, so if I drop... Oh, okay, I'm going to have to drop. I missed one already there. 10. 10 of them. Wow, okay. Well, alright, so hold on. Oh, God. Alright, I'm going to just marker this. Because I got an order. I got a lot of things I want to do here. So, we'll marker that, and we will return. But let's get the last Vista real quick and the last POI real quick. The Vista's there. Oh, I'm going to... Alright, just remember it's at the Lamplighter's Perch, okay? Well, I'm well up for doing that. There should be a buff track on me tracking how many I've done. Yeah, I think I lost the buff because maybe I'd skipped or I'd gone too slow or something. We shall return to that, don't you guys worry. So now we've got to figure out what bridge we're going along. I quite like this place, you know. My hopes for the next patch in 3 months is a lot more story here. I would find that very refreshing. Like a chance to actually explore, but not just going in one house. Like visit lots of them, maybe. I don't know. Live among the people for a while. Right, we want to come this way. I really liked how this expansion kind of gave us a very happy, like almost vacation feeling bear adventure, and then it got very grim. I liked that balance. So now I'm ready to go back to the happy bear areas, basically. It's a 10-minute timer to get 10, so we want about one per minute, right? Oh. Have I seen the trailer for the latest gem store ... decorations? No, I didn't even see that. You just got your chicken out of the oven, and now WP's live playing Janthir Wilds. Nice. Hey, I'm glad to have provided some entertainment for you. I really am. Okay, let's see what we got here. We got this. And then... That was so close to where we were earlier. Question is, go to Autumn's Vale and across the bridge, or go to Hot Springs? I'm going to go to Hot Springs. It feels like the elevation's a bit safer here, especially if we're high up on this. A lot of these places really warmed on me. I like this area. New build available. Your game will restart in half an hour? Oh, shit. Wait, is that the decoration patch? Because I've been logged in for a while, just to be clear. Setting things up. That means these maps are going to get empty. I'm actually quite surprised there's still a commander on this map, to tell the truth. In fact, they might be doing the Bog Queen right now. It looks like that's the Bog Queen, doesn't it? Over there? Could be. Set this bouncing mushroom. Oh, God. Wait, what have I done here? No, this is the right area. It's funny, I've played a lot of stuff around here and yet never quite nailed this one POI. Oh, the POI is really low. I remember, actually. We tried to get this, but we couldn't. It wasn't easy to get. It's like underneath... It's like a cave behind a waterfall or something. Right? So the question is, what waterfall, what cave, what entrance? I guess it might be a good idea to Griffin. Apparently I'm in combat. Mind blowing. Like it's not too low. Let's check behind this. And there was just an achievement to go behind all the waterfalls, remember? Which was kind of chill and nice. I don't know whether we did this one already. Oh my god, I'm technically swimming here? Whoa, that was weird. Right, well, we're now too low, obviously. We're way too low. Unless the entrance is down and then you... Is it possible that's the other jumping puzzle and you're like climbing up from within the cliffs or something? There's some suspicious yellow leaves in the water above the waterfall. I promise we'll get to the lore in a second, guys. I didn't anticipate this last one to be a challenge. Let's just enjoy ourselves and take our time with it. I really hate the feeling of being rushed. There we go. Let's pop up here. More springers standing around, hinting that that's how to climb. We're about level with it now. Oh my god, all this cliffs content I didn't realise was there. Ah, look, 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 it's a cave. And in fact... Oh no, it's not really a cave, is it? I think that's the event that I procced before to get the Valraven lore. And now we're too high again. To get to the POI, there's a hole in the top, in the water, where there are leaves. Okay, so I'm above the POI right now, but there's no water. So instead, I'm going to look at this water here, because it's the closest water to that. I don't see any leaves, but I'm really far away. Now, this is a bit of a cavey type place here. But this is like the flowing river. That I'm going to get ruined if I try and go in there. Maybe it's this water here. I think that's a better idea. We're in combat again. It's not even my pet attacking things. It's my things attacking my pet. This is what we compensate with our super speed for. Like, I'm thinking maybe over here. Is this a pool that's quite high? Possibly. Seems quite far away. I like this little tide pool, though. This is good. And the rushing water doesn't look too bad there, either. Well, there's nothing there. Again, we're in... Oh, my God. The over-aggro is just insane. Thank you. If you ever dare to change your build, your outfit or anything, or map, you best have everything dead within a fucking mile radius around you. No, no, go back. Yellow leaves. Patches of kelp. Oh. Is that how we're describing yellow kelp, guys? As yellow leaves? You mean like this stuff? Because that's definitely kelp. Oh my god, the sound effects, wow. Under there, you guys think under there there's a swimmable way in? The audio's not bad, eh? This feels really cool, actually. Being on the edge of the waterfall like this. So close and yet so far. Just before the waterfall under the POI. There is no waterfall on or under the POI. It's solid earth. Not this river, the big one. So the original one that I was thinking of. Okay, well, let's go over there. So you guys think there's some kelp. What, right on the edge? Here? Really? Oh, I can see, actually. Oh, my God. Wow. Look at this. Oh, that is cool. Oh, this makes me happy. This reminds me of playing Core. Core in, like, you know, in a lot of places where they played with the underwater. Guys, you know, like, there's things to be really happy about with Guild Wars. There's things to be miserable and grumpy about with Guild Wars. I have to tell you, 90%, well, not 90%, a huge preoccupation of mine, an absolutely huge preoccupation, and I'm not really ranting about it too much lately because I don't know how productive it is, and I don't think that many people might not feel the same way. But is with Core, I really want more reasons to go back, to re-level, to engage in real build crafts, to play all... I want all the content to feel valid instead of like a small slice at the end. Anyway, wow. Okay, so hold on. That's map comp. We got a key. Nice. I don't know if I have a chest. I do have a chest. Out of the chest, we got A Nash Blades exotic weapon grab bag. I remember once I did map comp in ore. I got completion in the Straits of Devastation or something. It gave me a key. I used the key to open a chest, and I got like a mount. I opened the mount, and it was like a legendary mount. So I got like a really cool, really expensive, really rare mount from map comp. And I went to Twitter, and I said, oh, I got this amazing mount from map comp. And my replies were full of people, obviously like lapsed people who weren't really focusing on the game, all saying, oh my god, they give you mounts for map comp now? And they do. It happened to me. But like not in the way that everyone suddenly was thinking. And that really sticks out in my memory. This is cool. I love the sound of the buzzing. I love the honeycombs. I love the dripping honey. It looks like another JP maybe, in fact, to climb up there. Also, bees. This perhaps could have been what inspired Snuggle. I really want to do this event, but I don't know if I can solo a group event with bounty mechanics. Does anybody want to do this with me? I could sit in here while we do the Q&A bit, which I'm really excited about today. And again, it will be a shorter one today. And then if people pile up in here, we can do it. There's badgers as well. Look at this, honey badgers, I guess. Is that what a honey badger does? They eat honey. You've got multiple legendary mounts from Big Nose Ted. Oh, right, because of the key farm. I see. I was thinking you were saying you got a key drop from the boss, which is also very rare. And then you open a chest and blah, blah, blah. Talk to some bees. You don't have to fight the bee. You can talk to them. Oh my god, you can talk to them. Wow, the audio's been really good here. Beavis. Beavis appreciated that. He does not wish to be repeatedly petted. Oh my god, there's a chest. Wait, is this the other JP room? Oh, it so is, right? This is essentially a jumper puzzle. Honey did not appreciate that. Oh, I'm sorry, honey. Upset bees. You've upset the bees by petting them in the wrong order. Oh. Okay. So we do Beavis. Oh, I'm glad we got this. It would have sucked to do this Let's Play without this in it. I can't mount in here either, by the way. Beavis. Oh, hold on. Let me just treat it as a linear thing without gliding. I might have skipped there. Going over there. So maybe it's Beavis first. Oh. There we go. There we go. Zzz. We get to do our zzz noises again, guys. And I can immaculately sync the audio into the game. You won't know whether it's me or the client. I'm that good at it. So Honey was mad. It wasn't Beavis, then Honey. So let's climb all the way up. Is it Beavis, then Combs? Combs appreciated that. Nice. I don't see anyone else higher up. Combs is at the top. So I'm going to try now. Honey appreciated that. Beavis, I have befriended some bees. My reward lies on the bottom back of the honeycomb inside the cave. Back over here. So the queen bee's just not going to attack me. Okay, hive hopper. Alright, I gotta be honest, guys. I was really into that, and then it turned out to just be 3 bees, and now I'm disappointed. Can it have been more? Honeycomb covered gear bag. That's an amazing champ bag. It's a shame we can't preview it. Let's open it up. Holy fuck. Apparently that's the 4th Masart runestone I've got. I didn't realise I had any of those. Using the crafting of legendary wilds, Janthir. Wow, I read that so weird. Using the crafting of Janthir Wild's legendary items. What are they selling for? Not too much, 69. I feel like that's one of those things where it's like, buy now, and in a few months it will be 2 gold a pop or something. Ooh. Wow. That was cool. I'm glad we saw that. If people are joining, by the way, Okay, so I'm gonna sit here now, and I'm gonna do. Oh wait, didn't I have another plan for the Q&A? Oh no, that was the Lonely Tower, which I'm not gonna do today. Okay, all right. So yeah, let's do some lore discussion, just a bit from you guys. And I'm actually gonna open with a really cool comment that is about Dark Souls. Somebody says, "Are you ready?" But they're not even in my map. Oh, you guys can't get into my map because my I need to reboot my client. Okay, so here's what we're gonna do. We are gonna. Well, okay, let's start with this actually. We're gonna look at this codon, and then we're gonna turn this off. So it's a black screen, but I am here. I'm gonna leave this squad. Okay, I've closed the game down now, and all I'm doing is relaunching so that it patches. And in the meantime, we'll do some Q&A. The patch won't take 2 minutes, obviously. In fact, I doubt it will take even 1 minute. It will probably just ding straight away. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe usually the Guild Wars patches. In fact, guys, I'm playing on a client at the moment with the game that yeah, it's already patched. I'm booting up now. I'm playing on a client that by clicking I accept, the user agreement has changed. It seems that doesn't even have all the files downloaded. You know, I said I did a fresh install. It means I'm playing on like a partial download thing. But yeah, here we go. So now we can turn it back on. And OBS is lagging a little bit, it seems, in its quest to find the client. Oh, it's swapped to... It's looking for Guild Wars 1. Oh, because I've booted the wrong... Alright, there we go. Ignore my stupidity. Okay, so here, look, this is original concept art. This appeared in the blog post detailing stuff about the codon. The one that we read where it had the thing about the missing voice from pre-launch. Good stuff, right? Lots of fun. Now, here's the thing. This same concept art, there's another concept art that is in the exact same style as this. White background, same artist, definitely. And it features a creature in a similar pose, with a similar body shape, in similar armor. So focus on, can you see its crotch, basically? The cup. No, it's not really a cup, is it? What do you call a shielding around your crotch on armor? Anyway, you see like that triangle? Like, look at the patterns. Okay, ready? So what could that other creature be that looks so similar to this codon? Well, it's this art here of the mouth of Zaitan, or a mouth of Zaitan. And this is amazing. So this was linked, I think Tyler told me about this. I mean, look at this. With the whole, the mouths, the codon, the similarities are incredible. And if you look at a lot of like the cloth and the material, it's really similar. So it could be that you could take this as a hint that there were codon in ore, and it was even being alluded to at launch Guild Wars 2. So it's just a fun thing to think about. You've even got those hands. I mean, the Risen are amazing, man. I love some of their ideas for the Risen. So there you go. So that's something. It's not really Q&A. Right now, guys, if you want to join me in the Honey Cave, you'll be able to, because you'll be able to get into my instance because I've patched. Okay? Right, let's run through the comments now. And I'm going to start with this one. This is from Awesome Debawsome. And I read this comment basically 2 days ago. It says there on the timestamp one day ago, but it was basically 2 days ago. And I have to say, guys, this has been living in my head since. And I think it's helped me to understand modern Guild Wars 2 storytelling. It's kind of tackling and talking about this thing of like, it's the whole story is like a shattered mosaic. It's like this huge puzzle spread out all over the place, and only the diehards that are really digging in are really getting a sense of a big picture. But the fun is in building that picture. I don't know. And I don't know whether that's good. I don't know whether that's the kind of storytelling I want for Guild Wars 2 or whatever. But let's just read this. Right, so Awesome to Awesome says this. Something meta-related finally clicked for me. Before Secrets of the Obscure came out, the devs were quoted as saying, or paraphrasing, that the storytelling is similar to Dark Souls. I get very wary whenever anything is compared to From Software games for many reasons. But playing through Secrets of the Obscure and watching your streams didn't make the comparison clear anyway. Now, with the epoch notes and everything falling into place, it is clear. One of the aspects of Dark Souls or Bloodborne or Elden Ring storytelling is the idea that you travel through a world that is degraded in some way and is steeped in ancient history that's hard to pass, simply because the player lacks context and information. And Dark Souls, by the way, I guess all these recent From Software games anyway, in this genre, I've always been high on the list of people making requests that they want to see me play. He says you find pieces of info that are hard to put together, but give you a glimpse of the story that's happened long ago, while also getting information that's more recent. Slowly, the full story of the world starts to reveal itself. Replaying with more context can give you a totally new understanding on information you couldn't fully grasp before. That's exactly how Secrets of the Obscure's story history is set up, especially the stuff with Epoch and Isgarin. Now, the games differ in almost any other way when it comes to storytelling, which is why I found the original dev remarks so strange. For example, it's impossible to get a firm grip on the timeline in FromSoft's games. Nothing is dated, so some major events cannot be placed in order. Motivations of characters are often not clear. I consider these big weaknesses of their stories, but that's another discussion. Wait, is it another discussion? Now, Awesome to Awesome says at least Guild Wars 2 does much better in that regard. But I feel the sting of that already. I feel that in Guild Wars. They say, interestingly enough, we see the same issues between the different franchises. The player gets all this information, but has no one to deeply discuss it with. Like you mentioned with Isgarin, why can't we just ask him about Epoch, about both their motivations? Doesn't he have an idea what Coda could be? Any thoughts on the Six besides not wanting to invoke their ire? Where did the Massart live in Nyos? Does he know anything more? Did they ever actually live there with the demons? And so on. And it's like, so the point is, in the main story, the commander can't really be written to be able to ask these questions because the devs don't know whether the player has found all the weird hidden puzzle pieces everywhere in order to... Like, if you were a player that didn't find those puzzle pieces... There you go. Send your party requests now, guys. Sorry. Then you wouldn't be able to... it wouldn't really make any sense, you know. It would skip around. It'd be very difficult to do. So they kind of have to be very separate. But yeah, and it's funny, Guild Wars has always kind of had this thing of like puzzling it out and finding the things off the beaten path. I guess the discussion to have is what proportion of that style of information delivery exists within the product. Is the majority of what there is to enjoy this puzzle it out shit? Or is there something, you know, to what extent do we have to do that to really get a little love out of it? And I feel like with this thing where they're saying Secrets of the Obscure is very Dark Souls-y, and then I guess Janthir Wilds as well. What they're saying is, look, we've iterated now, and there is a higher proportion of this style stuff. It's deliberate. And, you know, it's funny. Why the fuck? People keep joining my party. I click accept, and then the party dissolves. It's really weird. So I guess the thing is, as well, it's like, to me, it's like if they're deliberately going for it, and they're I sort of feel okay about, like, okay, what am I trying to express? I'm trying to express I've been doing all of this with the understanding that one day I'll get a complete picture. I've been doing all of this with the understanding that there is something very concrete and I will have it. We just need to look for it. And that's the fun, believing in the concrete and going for it. But this whole comment here makes me think maybe they've changed tack a little bit. And like they say here, you know, some things aren't dated. So you will never truly know in that franchise, or those franchises, you get what I mean, in that genre. Is that what have ArenaNet changed tack now, and are they doing that for Guild Wars? Will we never know truly concrete why in one situation we have Sidoni talking about one thing, and then in another situation they're talking about another? You know, because there's a lot of weird little things like that. So anyway, hold that in mind, because we're going to do a side quest in a second. A very short side quest, but we're going to do one about Sidoni. But yeah, really cool comment, and it's got me thinking about the story. Really, I've been thinking about this a lot. It's the story delivery in this. Quite a lot. Jackal says, I think Greer and Decima are bigger than ArenaNet's engine will let them be, while still having something that can move around like they do. Just kind of have to use our imaginations to make up for the engine's limitations a bit. Yeah, you're right. I've tried to express that in these videos. If I failed in that, such that comment like this has been prompted, fine. But yeah, that's exactly what I think it is. That they've gone as big as they can while still having an entity that moves around. I'll point out, now that I know about Ura, wasn't it? It was just URA, right? I'm of the hope that Ura, if we fight them in the raid, in the convergence, in the main story, in an event, whatever, I don't know, if we fight Ura, that they will be massive. Like, you remember that concept art, the Janthir Wilds concept art, where it really looked like a mountain back there? I think Ura is where they might do that. Because they can do really giant stuff in the engine. It's just they become wall bosses, essentially. It's a static hitbox in a specific area. Think about fighting Primordus or Jormag. Think about, you know, Zaitan's another method, really. What's a really good example? I mean, you guys know what I mean. A lot of the world bosses, where they like the Shatterer, for example, he flies off and he lands, but he's always static while he's there. So, and that's huge. The Shatterer is massive. So I'm hoping they'll do a Titan in that style. That's what Ura will be. So I think and if that's always been their plan, they always knew they were going to have a third one. For Greer and Decima to have them distinct, I think they've gone as big as they can while they're still normal enemies in engine. And so if you're sitting there disappointed that the Titans weren't even bigger, then maybe they've got an answer for you for that. But I will say, even to that criticism, you know, I know they're called Titans. There might be a thing where it's Guild Wars 2 exclusive, people hear the word Titan, and you take that description literally. But even in Guild Wars 1, the Titans, they were pretty small. They weren't that exciting, really. And in Guild Wars 2, I mean, they were big in Guild Wars 1, don't get me wrong, but they weren't, you know, like I just replayed the End of Prophecies. The desert worms that you find in the Crystal Desert are way bigger as enemies than the Titans are, right? So yeah, going big is cool though. I like big. I'd like to see them do something more. But yeah, that's how I understand all that. Next, Ajax Player 33 says there isn't really any lore involved with them, but there are 3 jumping puzzles in the Lowland Shores. It'd be cool to see you do 2. We've already talked all about that, haven't we? Yes, I think we've done one of them amazingly, weirdly enough. There you have it. Next, J Torres. Torres makes me think of Voyager. As I was watching this episode, I came across a couple of ambient dialogues about Tyria's constellations. These were in Seekers of the Obscure. Now, this is very cool, guys. Look at this. Now, these appeared in my playlist last year. In the Bastion of the Natural, northeast of the Waypoint, there is a djinn and a human talking about the Flamebearer constellation that had appeared just a month before Seekers of the Obscure. Remember that, guys? And it is apparently a good omen for the Coden. The other one is also in the Bastion of the Natural, just below the Waypoint. They mention that the sky seems busier than usual and that they don't recognize some of the stars. My theory is that those new stars might be realms or planes that can reach Tyria now that the Elder Dragons are gone. I think you're absolutely right. We talked about something similar last year, but now that we've had this Coden thing as well, and this really impressed me. Oh, I think someone's fighting the bee. Let's fight the bee. This really impressed me as well. This is where it really feels like there's a big picture. Like, they didn't drop that thread. That's a seemingly small thing, easily forgotten. But they didn't drop it between the 2 expansions. So I think it's nice. It's really nice to have that consistency there. By the way, this is not one of you guys. I'm going to leave this. Oh, do you know what? I bet it's people on NA trying to play with me, but I'm on EU or vice versa. I can't even remember what region I'm on right now, guys. Look, don't blame me. Blame the server infrastructure. They'll fix it for Guild Wars 3, I'm sure. Yeah, sorry, guys. Sorry. If you're trying to join and you can't, I'll leave this party again, since that player obviously can't. But we have a group here. So let's beat these guys up. Oh, also, you guys can hear me, right? Because I've been messing with audio. I've been messing with sidechaining and compression. As in, when I speak, the game audio can go a little bit lower. Basically, there's some weird audio bugs in 14 that I'm setting up. And I can actually use OBS to compress, where basically sometimes sound effects are way too loud. And I can use OBS to just clean those up. And then I realized, well, why don't I, instead of listening to the game client directly, I could just listen to OBS. That way, what I'm hearing is exactly what you guys are hearing in the videos. It's all consistent, and I can actually use it to improve the quality of my own experience. So, all right, well, there we go. Nice. We killed the bee, and maybe that progressed one of these achievements, you know, that's to do with these events. This build has grown on me and grown on me and grown on me. I want to do this all again. I want to do all the Janthir Wilds again on another character that is 2 weapon sets. One weapon set is the Secrets of the Obscure stuff that I didn't pay much attention to, and the other weapon set is the Janthir Wilds. What else? I could do that on so many things. I could do that on Thief. I could do that on Engineer. I'm really interested in Engineer, actually, as well, because of the whole short bow being such a dud. Ugh, some of the stuff in The Secrets of the Obscure weapons, which is not good. These ones are really awesome, though. I love everything about them. The animations have had a lot of work. Alright, so here's some fish. No, I don't actually have any fish, sorry. And look, I have some of these. I've got loads of these hearts. I've been gathering them for 2 weeks now. There you go. So that'll progress his thing a little bit, I guess. And there we have it. Right, let's go back to town, and then let's get a couple more of these questions in. I reckon we've probably done half of them already, by the way. Oh, no, that's a lie. We're probably slightly below half. So we're on to this one now. Let's put this on screen. There we go, there we go, there we go. You can't weapon swap on NG, you goof. I don't have to be able to weapon swap in combat. I can swap. You're constantly flitting in and out of combat as you play. So I can get the flavour of all of it. And they have like, Ellie can weapon swap as well. That's not what I was suggesting, just to be clear. The juxtaposition of your... Oh, Jeff says, the juxtaposition of your serious musing about Snargle's personal life and immediately after realising that the book you were reading was literally about a bee was the hardest I've ever laughed at a GW2 video. Thank you very much for that. I find it very ironic that that person, like, smarmily said at the end, oh, WP when asked to take things metaphorically, when that exact same stream, I had done exactly that, but it had been the error that time, right? Like, I had read that thing about the bee thinking, oh, this is clearly metaphorical, this isn't literal, and it turned out to be literal. And then at the end, I to tell you the truth, I proposed both, but yeah. So there you go. Fall in love with the bee, and maybe Snargle found his way into that cave. Who knows, right? Iskabar says, when I read the realm of dreams, I think dreams. It is somewhere, something accessible to everyone who is capable of dreaming, not specifically Nyos. I think that the Masart fucked up everywhere that they went, and that is why we have them on Tyria, on Nyos, and probably hundreds of worlds in the Mists. They are just conceived as a greedy, exiled race that want everything for themselves, and will usually destroy everything to achieve that goal. The original world is probably a barren wasteland, devoid of life, probably at their own doing. I kind of like this idea, but I don't think that the material in-game supports it. Actually, I don't even like the idea very much, I'm sorry. I think we have our, like, super black and white, mustache-twirling villain races like the Crate. I think that the Masart don't have to be that entirely. And speaking of the material, let's be clear. We have that note that we read from High Researcher Darda, who basically is suggesting... No, High Researcher Darda wasn't suggesting this. But we have that note from Secrets of the Obscure and that thing with Mabon. That's basically like... It's the Tyrian ones, the Manakaz-led ones that were really nasty. And they were exiled. They were exiled for a reason. That maybe not all the Masart are terrible. And isn't there an Isgaran quote that basically says, look, a lot of the Masart are much better than the ones here on Tyria, but they're similar, but they're better. I like this idea that there's a bit of divinity and that, you know, if these guys were outcast, they were outcast from the others for a reason. And I don't think it's because they were the good guys, so to speak. So yeah, I don't know. I think that they're a bit smarter. And speaking of Darda, you know, she basically said, I hate this whole thing with the Bloodstones. I'm going to leave. And it's really interesting as well. Darda... Was Darda confirmed to be a woman? I can't remember. She's a woman to me. She's Mabon's missing love, as far as I'm concerned. But it seems to me that Manakaz did this whole thing of, like... Okay, so look, the Masart are exiled to Tyria. And the reason it's exile is because Tyria is doomed to the Elder Dragons, and there's this prophecy about the Titans as well, right? So they're exiled, they're doomed. So they get their heads together, and what Darda was writing, Darda basically suggests that the whole plan initially was, all right, let's get the fuck out of Dodge. Let's escape, let's go home. But at some point that plan changed. Manakaz found another way through with his research. And he was like, oh, we could just keep the door closed. We're not doomed. Let's keep the door closed. It will take a lot of souls. Let's do it. And in Darda's note, Darda's basically saying all these theatrics and this ridiculous stuff, like, I just can't abide by it. She actually says it may yield results in time, but I don't want to be a part of it. So then Darda, like, leaves. So there's a suggestion, right, that Darda continued on the project of going home. You might find that they managed to do that. you might find somewhere else on Tyria, maybe even in Barbanissos. Also, they had like a title. They were like the high researchers, so it seems they have some prominence. Anyway, this here, I was curious about this. The Nintendo fanboy. I'm not sure if WP will see this, but I think you, WP, are going to be annoyed when you actually realise you should have completed the Lowland Coden Mastery first. When you read Scavenger of the Wilds, I think you're going to facepalm yourself. I do hope you see this and read the comment, lol. Alright, what? Let's have a look at this. I don't know what they're alluding to here, so let's go. Open this, open Masteries, Lowland Coden, Scavenger of the Wilds. It's the final one, so, I mean, it would have taken a while. Gain more XP while in Janthir, and gain additional currency items by completing events. Yeah, that's a bit weird with the design, isn't it? Because the only magic in the Mastery system, like, almost the only magic, is the idea of I can pick what line I want to do. And here they are essentially saying, do this one first. And it's hidden in the UI. Yeah, that's a bit rough, isn't it? I mean, that motivates me to swap here, I guess, out of homesteading again. I'm not too fussed about this, though. I'm not rushing to beat this super fast. If I still have XP and stuff to earn over the whole year, then fine by me. I don't need to accelerate at top speed the whole way through. But yeah, I can see some people feeling a bit miffed about that. There you go. Thank you for the advice as well. Tronic says, in Hater's Gate story step, Pather, referring to Nyos, mentions that all of this was copied from other worlds. I think this is an interesting concept that hasn't been explored much. Did the Cryptists build the architecture in Nyos by copying Astral Ward or even Messiah architecture? What if it perhaps was the other way around? Then there's this whole part about the beacons predating Isgarin and their origin being unclear. Could they perhaps be forgotten in nature? What do you think about the beacons not having a clear origin and presumably lost to history? Yeah, that's a weird wriggle from Secrets of the Obscure. So look, when I played Secrets of the Obscure, they were throwing loads of stuff at the wall, as far as I could see it. They had like references to all kinds of things, especially in the second map, right? References here, there, everywhere, a million obscure hints and teases. And there were so many of them so fast, I didn't possibly think that they were building to anything. So it was kind of cute and it was kind of fun, but it didn't really grab me. It's not until this expansion that is quite tightly connected to a bunch of this that I think my enthusiasm's really been relit, because it feels like shit does matter. And these are very tightly tight to one another. So now I care about a lot of these things that they were throwing at the wall, so to speak. Now, one of the things they threw at the wall was, yeah, this mention that the beacons... You got the bastions and the beacons, right? The beacons, which is like the Beacon of the Ages, the Wizard's Tower in Ascalon, in pre-Syrian Ascalon. This is a beacon. These are apparently older than everything. They're older than Isgarin. They're older than the lot. The Wizard's Court didn't build the beacons. The beacons were already there. So that's an interesting story. And this is a weird one, though, where I'm still tempted to discard it. I'm still tempted to think... It doesn't really matter, kind of thing. I don't know. It feels like it's very easy for the writers to just put that in, to sort of open doors and make the history of the place feel rich without really putting the detail in, or it won't really matter. It won't really be relevant. I don't know. I still have this weird lingering sense that this doesn't matter. Okay, they're older than everything. That's just to create a bit of grandeur, surely, right? Maybe I'm wrong, and I would love to be wrong. I'd love the third part of this story to have some massive thing about how, you know, Isgarin took it from X, Y, or Z. Your proposal that it's the forgotten stuff, I think that's boring, I'm afraid to say. I like to think if they're doing that, then we want. I want to talk about 30,000 years ago. I want to talk about 40,000. I want to talk about before what we currently know of as the ancient races. And I feel like that's a little hint about that, maybe. Just to say in the end, oh, it was forgotten. I don't know. I mean, it could roll in because there's this whole thing of Vast might have had a big influence. A bigger influence than we realised. Like, there was that guy suggesting... I don't know if I put the comment up, but there was a guy saying, Isgarin's only nice because Vast made him nice. Which I thought was really weird, and I spoke to them in the comments. I think that's wrong to say that. Just because Vast was nice, it doesn't mean Isgarin is also... It has to be devoid of empathy. But anyway, maybe... I don't know, though. I don't think so. And I don't have a strict timeline, you know? I don't have enough details. And maybe that leads me back to that whole FromSoft thing, you know? Anyway, next comment. Oh, wait. There was another thing I didn't... Oh, yeah. As for Nyos. Again, it's too intangible. It's a realm of dreams. So what, we dream it into creation? Is it a dream like the dream of dreams that the Sylvari have? A realm that is made out of thought? And then therefore, the living, when you're awake, you inform the dream. So everything gets copied into it, you know, like, I don't know. It's, and how does that work as a Masat homeworld? And I don't know. I think we're supposed to keep it magical and illogical and a bit loosey on that one. I don't think we want to think about it too tangibly as much as we want to. Hardy says, I think the Glint Isgarin relationship. So remember, in the last episode, it was revealed Glint had spoken to Isgarin, and one of the shards was here. I think the Glint Isgarin relationship is either him wanting to ally with her for her prescience, because she can see the future, or, more likely, since he's very pragmatic, he knew that if the prophecy of Aurene was true, then it was better result than the dragon cycle, and that's why he didn't intervene in us killing him. I think that all makes a lot of sense, yeah. Of course, the scale being in the lowlands could imply there was more to her Flameseeker predictions than we now know, and either Glint or maybe the Zephyrhites were here for some reason. Either way, like I've mentioned, stuff like that isn't there for fun. It probably means something or wants us to go back and look about stuff about her. Okay, I've got a little theory about this, actually, guys. I'd love to go to the cave and see the thing. Where is the cave? I've been assuming it's up here. You guys say you can see it, right? I don't know where the cave is, though. Alright, here's my theory. I think it's quite a simple one, this, actually. Glint wrote the Flameseeker prophecies, right? She could, to an extent, see into the future. Kralkatorrik could as well. He saw his own death, right? Glint could see into the future. She saw that the Masat were all going to die when the door was opened and all that. She didn't necessarily need to go anywhere to have that prediction. But maybe there's something proximity-ish about it or something. Maybe she flew up here at one point. And that's when the Masat parts of the Flameseeker prophecies became obvious to her. Maybe her vision of the future occurred to her in this area. I think maybe it's just something about how Glint wrote those prophecies. Glint wrote them, and I can imagine modern ArenaNet telling this story about the Titans and the Masat and all this stuff again, and they're kind of like, the Glint connection's kind of weird. And so they're like, okay, well, let's Glint surely came here at some point. Okay, because, like, for example, okay, if I was writing all of this, and I was really trying to round out the holes in the prophecy story, because there are so many holes, right? I would probably think along these lines. Okay, Glint is a compassionate creature. Glint cares about the people of this world. Glint has seen a premonition of the Masat dying. What does Glint do? The second she has that premonition, before she's written the prophecies, what does Glint, the nice dragon, do after seeing that the Masat are going to get wiped out? Well, she probably flies over there to tell them and to give them a heads up, right? She probably communicates with them. So I think it's as simple as that. ArenaNet probably thought, well, at some point Glint will have gone up to chat with them. And the scale fell off there or something. The question is, what happened when she did that? And I'm thinking the Masat were like, look, because there's, oh, we're building something here, guys. What happened when she did that? A lot of the Masat probably decided to flee at that point, right? But they left some behind. And those ones that got left behind weren't willing to collaborate with Glint to forestall their fate or something. I don't know. There was clearly a lot of bad blood between them by the time of Guild Wars 1. Glint's not like chatting with them, right? There are odds in it. So maybe the scale has fallen off because they attacked her at some point in the fallout of all this revelation. Maybe Glint goes there. There's a big meeting. Half of them believe her and leave. The other half don't and call her a warmonger or something. Or you know, I don't know. They accuse her of something for some reason. They attack her. And she's like, well, fuck you guys. I'll write in a book and you'll see what will happen. And the Flameseeker do you get what I mean? There's a hole in the prophecy story, and putting a shard of Glint here begins to address that hole, I think. Just some food for thought, but I'm feeling pretty good about that observation there and those thoughts. Next, this is annoying. I keep tabbing in and out of OBS and Guild Wars and moving on to different screens. Let me just check. Yeah, we read that. Yeah, we read that. Okay. So we're on to this one. Alright, so the looking foolish in the eye thing. Do we take it literally? Do we take it figuratively? It's weird and clunky as hell. Let's see. Osiris says, and look at my screenshot here, by the way. This was right as I refreshed the page to grab a screenshot 8 seconds ago on that timestamp. Maybe looking foolish in the eye is a reference to Saul? That's the first fool who comes to mind. Also, I thought it was phrased in a particular way to be referential, not just metaphorical. Saul's an interesting idea. I can imagine a scene now in which the Saul stumbles his way to Barbanissos. The Messiah appear before him. They say, we'll help you against the Char, that's not a problem. But we have our own problem. It's the Titans. We need souls. And Saul might at that point say, what's a Titan? Or I don't believe you, or is this really a big deal? So it's quite believable to me that at some point in his adventures in the Alabaster and Gold City, Saul was shown a Titan. And it could have been Ura. And that's when Ura looks him in the eye, maybe? I don't know. It's difficult to talk about this because, again, it's lyrical language no matter what way you put it. But what is the kernel of truth under it? I don't know. Next, we have this guy, Niels Jensen. Oh, wow, that's really huge. Who says, who has a weird comment. Okay, so I brought this comment out. I don't know whether I should really do this, but this is one of many. Now, I like people who drop a lot of lore comments. This guy's dropped loads and loads and loads and loads and loads and loads and loads over the past couple of days. And they say the climate zones on Tyria are horizontal rather than vertical. So the cold zone is east of Janthir. The coldest area was the far north because of Jormag. Now they've typed this like a fact. Now I kind of don't like most of the comments that this person has left on the videos. And I don't mean to say that in a really offensive way and get them upset and annoyed or whatever. But they do this horrible thing that I've noticed some nerds do. I call myself a nerd, in fandom cultures or whatever. They type like they're facts. They're just their ideas. They're their headcanons. They're their theories. And they type them like they're facts. And I really have a big problem with that. Like I would say 75% of the comments that they've left is stating something as a fact that's not a fact. It's just a good guess or a wild guess. So here, for example, the climate zones. This was a conversation years and years and years and years ago with Guild Wars. Back when the original map, all we had was like this with prophecies. It was kind of easy to say, well, look, here's hot. Maybe this is the equator because the Crystal Desert's hot here. And then it gets colder as we go along. And it's kind of hard to tell because these are the Shiver Peaks and they're high and they're snowy, but it's because they're high. And it's like, it's just weird, right? Like, basically, it's a bit of a weirdly conceived and not very realistic con world, right? And so it led some people to discuss whether the climate zones were in bands like this rather than in bands like this. But as far as I know, that is not true. That is not confirmed anywhere. I've never seen confirmation on that. At least if I have, I've promptly forgotten about it. As far as I know, there's still a sense of an equator. Also, when you look at like the Dermond Priory floor map, they called like the stuff at the very top the frigid north or something, the frozen north, I think they called it. I'm pretty sure it's a standard world in terms of like the pole is cold and this pole is cold. And this is somewhere around the equator, around with Elona, and that's why it's all here, hot here. This weird comment typed as a fact, and there are a lot. There's way too many to go into. I would just say, like people, and a lot of them are good ideas. Just try to, and I have to police myself to do this as well. Try to use words like I think, or maybe, or I guess, or I suppose. Don't type things that you, don't type your headcanon as fact. That's such a bad move. But in any case, there you go. So it's an interesting. And by the way, I'm not totally discrediting this climate ban thing. There might be a thing about that. I don't think so though, and that's a very old conversation. A fun one though. Here we go. So Mega Camus, who is a member, YouTube member, got the little potatoes there. By the way, you guys can become a member too. You'll notice he's got 2 little potatoes there. That means he's like 2 months in a row or something. If you just join, you'll have 1. Skilled has 1, apparently. Hello, Skilled, in chat. Where's our Elder Dragon of Climate Change? They're all Elder Dragons of Climate Change. Okay, so Mega Kames says, love the streams, but there is something I have to get off my chest about the mini expansion story. My issue that lives rent-free in my head every time I play Guild Wars 2 is that nobody in the game addresses the elephant in the room. And I alluded to this in another comment a second ago, by the way, which is that all the Ascended Wizards are immortal. The more I think about it, the more annoyed I get about the idea of the Wizards' Court existing thousands of years with immortal members, and we get next to nothing exposition from them. So just to pause here, by the way, I thought that this commenter was originally going to go on about, like, how that's a radical thing, and when we're in the Lion's Arch meeting, surely everyone's like, holy fuck, I want to be an immortal, you know? Like, Isgarin made Waiting Sorrow an immortal. That's huge! I want to be an immortal! Will you do that for me, please? Think about just how insane that is. Like, the whole world, that would change so much about the world. Everyone would be vying for that. But there's no detail on it at all. So that's what I thought the comment was originally about, but no, let's read on. He's talking about something else. He says, the reason I've brought this up is because the Titan research side story you just did in the previous episode was fun. But it feels so weird as a commander to read a bunch of notes when in reality we could just go to the Wizard's Tower and, you know, ask around. Most of the Wizards were around during the original Titan crisis, and yeah, they didn't intervene, but Isgarin saying at the beginning of the expansion that the Wizard's Tower's books about the Titans means someone was documenting the entire crisis. We could ask them what they know. Non-Guild Wars 1 players could get like voiced summaries of the entire ordeal with added punches of the Wizard's perspective of the original Titan crisis. Or we don't get that, but Isgarin tells us why. Maybe they can't remember, or the members who knew about the Titans tragically died, or research and books were lost during the Wizard's Tower siege in Secrets of the Obscure, and Isgarin was preoccupied with other stuff during that time, so he doesn't know. But it annoys me that ArenaNet introduced an entity of information that we don't have access to without any good reason. For a person like Isgarin, who is tens of thousands of years old, 250 years is nothing to him. That's like 2 weeks ago in sea years. And you got a response that says, damn, it's easy to get lost in the details, to forget and step back every once in a while, but you're totally right. Secrets of the Obscure has opened many doors, but created many more writing issues when it comes to the commander not being able to talk more with the Wizards. I'd even go so far as to say this problem overshadows everything else. Yeah, and it is a serious wrinkle, really. I remember feeling this way after Secrets of the Obscure launched, and we had that 3-month wait into Nyos. Because, like, the commander lives that time as well, right? Because it's synced. And it's this weird thing where it's like, in 3 months, you could have gotten a serious download with Isgarin. It makes me think of the Ice Brutes, but obviously we just skip all that. You know, the commander just wanders off, doo-doo-doo, for 3 months. And then we're in the dark and rushing to figure things out. You know, we could have asked Isgarin about any of these topics. More details on anything and everything. And yeah, I agree, like, obviously narratively that doesn't work. So, but it would be nice to have a reason for why we're not allowed to hear. And this is one of those things, I think, that in the main story, it's like what we were talking about on the last part, where it would have been nice to have had a deeper conversation with Kaith. The exact kind of writing, just more interaction with the characters. They can do that. You give me a dialogue box where I can say to Isgarin, what about the Seers? What about the Forgotten? What about this? What about that? What about this? What about that? And every time he just gives me the runaround. Like, at least put it in the game. You know, we have to assume that that's what would happen, but don't make me assume. Put it in the game. And it's the same thing. You want those expanded character interactions, and they're not there. And yeah, I don't really have anything else to say, but I think and the more expansions that go by with the Wizard's Court, and the more time that passes with the Wizard's Court, the weirder this is going to get. And in fact, think about that adventure we did, that quest we did on the last episode, where we're with the Diamond Priory, and they're kind of having to conduct their own research and peck at scraps of what the Astral Court, the Wizard's Court, knows. It's weird. It's like, so why are they having to do that? They kind of got to spin it into a plot, really. But there you go. Next. You know, with the connections you mentioned again about Malik's tree, it made me consider, with all the rifts, if Malik could have been from an entirely different realm. I know they shouldn't have rifts all over Corteria timeline, but if you look at the story, his pod drifted down the Island River. That's interesting because the river circles the Thormanova reactor, which is covered in rifts and ripped holes in reality. So who's to say he didn't get sucked out of his realm and dumped into Tyria? Taking that even further, if we ignore the reactor and just think about it, how did Eparch even land in Maguma? Did the same thing happen to Eparch that happened to Malik? Yeah, I don't know about that. I much prefer the idea that the actual tree is somewhere here on Tyria. And they've got some weird thing. In the actual story with Malik? Aren't there people that go with him or go off to look for him? Like, anyway, the idea that he's from the realm of dreams or something is weird. Wasn't his whole thing that he was disconnected from the dream as well because his pod was severed? So his perspective was kind of unique. I like the idea that there's another physical tree with its own dream. And if that gives us somehow more information on Nyos... If Nyos is basically a giant pale tree-esque dream, the tree just exists not on Tyria. Like there's a demon tree somewhere else on another major reality or something. I don't know. They could do so many things with all this shit. I don't know. There was something else I was going to say, and I've talked myself off it. It's gone. It's gone, guys. We'll never know. I'm sorry. I'm really sorry. Something fascinating. Next, Alaska Winter. He's quoting the bit with the Char Prisoner. The Char Prisoner said, they will build us a bridge to the next world. 10 more years and this one will be done. Kind of sounds like they wanted to escape Tyria. Yeah, it does. It sounds like they want to flee across this bridge to the next world. The question is, what was that bridge to be, you know? Because I guess, talking about holes in prophecies, right? The Titans are, for the Vizir Kilbron bit, the Titans are being manipulated by the Scepter of Ore. So kind of Abaddon's doing, sort of, right? So whatever. But before that, before Kilbron has the Scepter of Ore, there is this bit in the story where the Titans presented themselves to the Char. And the Flame Legion saw them and started making effigies of them and got the power for the searing and all that. And during that period, are they all just working on Abaddon's behalf? Are they all specifically from the Realm of Torment? How, though? Because the door was shut. The door of Kamali is shut. Let me draw this on screen just to make this very clear to you guys, right? So here's the timeline. Right? Timeline. This is the events of Guild Wars 1 at the start of Guild Wars 1. This is the end of Prophecies when the door opens. So these Titans come out, and the Scepter of Ore is manipulating them and they're attacking, right? But at the start, the Flame Legion are already worshipping Titans and building all the effigies and stuff. So there was a Titan here already that didn't come out of the door. There was a Titan or Titans that were not from the door of Kamali. Unless there was a mini moment it was open and closed and they got a whole story to tell us about. So these Titans, is this Ura? And what was their plan? They're not just pawns of Abaddon. They have an idea. So that's what they're building this bridge. And do these what? Do they hate the Massart? Because the Massart took Glint at face value when she said the Titans are going to kill you all. So, like, I enjoy this, but on the other hand, there's too much. It's too much intangible, right? Like, I don't know. Wait, there you go. You finally remembered. What did I remember? It's it's so anyway, there's another thing to think about. But here they are in this expansion writing about it, so maybe they sat down and figured it all out. Okay, here's an amazing one. Do you remember in the last part I was like, oh, here's the best comment, 10 out of 10, you don't have to watch anything else. Here's another really good one. Tirak. Imagine if Isgarin hates Zin because of how he dissected a seer. Holy shit, that's good as well. That's really good. But what was this Zin? Did this Zin do it though, or would it just be a sort of a prejudice? Okay, I'll explain this for people who might be out of the loop. All right. So in Guild Wars 1, okay, Zin does his stuff, whatever, MOX quest, blah, 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 blah. In the Guild Wars 1 version of Living World, there was a chapter set in Kryta called The War in Kryta, okay? It's like the Massart's last attempt to win over Kryta and the last gasp of the White Mantle in the first game, okay? Big thing. Now, at this point in the timeline, this is after Eye of the North. This is after everything. You've got to have all the Guild Wars 1 story. Guild Wars 1 ends. They're making Guild Wars 2, and they put out some small content. So we're here. We're like late in the game. So they do the War in Kryta. And at this point, there's no seers around to help us. We're going to do battle with the Massart again, but all the people of Kryta are going to. The seers aren't around to help us against Spectral Agony. So what happens is, remember, this is post-Eye of the North, so the Asura play. You find, up here at a little lab, Zin, and I think Blim, together, two Asura, dissecting the body of a dead seer. One of the only other times you ever see a seer. You see the seers in the prophecy story, then there's no seers anywhere in Guild Wars 1. There's none until in the Warring Cry here. Where, and by the way, this is right where Divinity's Reach would be founded. Just as a little heads up. The tombs beneath Divinity's Reach that Ghost of Ascalon, the novel, starts in. Yeah, so anyway, they're there. They dissect from the seer and they find their own sort of version of infusion, which then helps you in the war. But yeah, this is the Asura hacking away at the body of one of the last seers. Which seer was it? Was it the one that helped us in prophecy? Who knows? But I remember, guys, when that happened, that was the coolest shit ever. That was around when I was Let's Playing Prophecies, I think. That was such a cool lore moment, and it was really cool. You could only see it in the distance. You couldn't walk over and ask the Asura what they'd learned and all this stuff. It was just there. It was really cool. So anyway, so then Zin lives his life. He tries to found Ratanovus. He dies to the Chark and all that shit, and he's dead, blah, 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 blah. So Isgarin at that point is probably thinking, yeah, fuck you. But now there's new Zin. There's Neo Zin, right? There's the Zin from here. The Zin from the Fractal that they've just hinted at Lion's Arch is back in the real Ratanovus now. Zin's alive again and potentially rebuilding Ratanovus. So what does Isgarin think about this guy? I like to think he's very cold and dispassionate and, you know, there's this thing of pragmatism or whatever, and he's over it, I hope. But it's so cool to think of them interacting. Zin is like the least relevant goddamn character in all of this expansion, yet has got so many conversations out of us. It's insane, isn't it? Anyway, I love that. It's a fun thought. Next, AWP, there is an ascended trinket. It's called the Janthir's Gaze. It's an obtainable as a reward for completing Heart of Thorns Act 2. Does that have any purpose being there? Yeah, Heart of Thorns gave you celestial ascended amulets for doing the story achievements. The Janthir's Gaze was one. That was like the utility one. The offensive one was Abaddon's Eyes, and the other one was Syzygy, which is, you know, like celestial alignment of all the stars and moons, of all the moons and planets. Well, I don't know moons as well, but planets at least in the solar system. And I have talked about that in the past. I think if you go back to my season, oh, I don't know when it was. I've definitely talked about it in a mystery video or something somewhere. Like, is Janthir somehow related to Abaddon and all this kind of stuff? Because there's the 3 amulets. Is it related to the celestial bodies all aligning? I don't know. Too vague. I couldn't really tell you. It looks... My gut says it was just dumped in. But here we are in Janthir talking about Titans, and Abaddon was involved with all that. So maybe ArenaNet has a plan. Next, we got Navy T in the dialogue between the Titans at the end of the video. This is one of the last ones, by the way, guys, and it brings us back to where we are in the story now. In the dialogue between the Titans at the end of the video, there are a few phrases that I find a tad bit weird. Very messy thoughts jump ahead. Can I just say this is basically my favorite comment from the past 2 episodes? Because this is someone really trying to dig into the tangibles of what the fuck that weird dialogue was from Ura. So here we go, or just in the last instance. So here's a quote from Greer. Your bloodstone, quote unquote, bloodstone, ripples through my very essence. So obviously he's just saying he's fed on the bloodstone. But not sure why he uses quotes there. Or even points out your bloodstone. Was it the first time he heard the name of the thing? Does this mean there were no White Mantle or like Cordicus' searching party involved? I don't know what you mean there with the White Mantle and Cordicus. I assume he says your bloodstone. He's speaking to us like as a generic Tyrian. And it was Tyrians that built the bloodstone. I view Greer as an extra-dimensional entity that had no part in its construction. So he comes to this world and he sees that the people in this world have stored their magic in a bloodstone. So he says that's your bloodstone. And he's saying, I've been eating it. But he calls it, but that thing of why does he use quotes when he's talking about bloodstone? It's like he knows it as a technology under a different name. And can I just point out another thing, guys, by the way? The whole thing about the bloodstones was that the Elder Dragons couldn't feed on them. They were rock solid. You couldn't tap them. The gods could tap them and did and distributed it and then resealed it or whatever. But they're supposed to be impenetrable storage for magic. And yet here we have the Titans just wandering around feasting. Now, I've kind of been assuming somewhere in the back of my head that that's just because the thing's blown up. Like, its structural integrity's gone, so fuck it. Things can eat from it. But I'm not sure really that's a good explanation. Because why is it destroyed? We've also been assuming that it's destroyed because of the original Titan crisis. But why would that necessarily have happened? It seems to me that the Elder Dragons native to Tyria could not get into the Bloodstones, but extra-dimensional things can. The gods could, and the Titans can. Potentially the Cryptis could as well. So I think that there's a line there. I think Bloodstone technology is only good for things within Tyria. But these Mist Travelers, they can tap this stuff. And I think there's an irony in there about the Massart as well. Because the Massart kind of are Mist Travelers too. Is that how the Massart could use the Bloodstones for their soul batteries and stuff? Oh, I don't know. Again, there's a good story in there. If it's written and told to me. Decima. Wheel ... pull their bodies through the mist until nothing remains but essence and memory. Oddly and suddenly specific on her part. Previously, she's only threatened strictly physical harm, like squash, turn to paste, send a bolt through your skull, etc. Her going into metaphysics is new, lol. Anyway, both memory and essences were a huge theme in Secrets of the Obscure, so I'm wondering if it hints at something. There are memory fragments in Nyos, and Cryptis drop essences after being killed. Does it mean that they've been through too many mist hikes, or what? Is it hinting that at some universal rule, like the fact that no matter the realm, all living beings are made of essences, since the Cryptis dropped them? Decima claims Tyrians can be reduced to them, and Greer mentions his essence. To be honest, I still can't grasp exactly what these essences mean. We have essences of emotions, Cryptis essences, and now ArenaNet diluted the term further by renaming some of the emotion-related essences into Rift essences. A weird catch-all word for what I don't know, but maybe I just need to replay Secrets of the Obscure. Yeah, it does seem a bit vague. I like this idea, though, of a universal rule being established that gives some coherency and logic to all this shit. I want a bit more logic. I want more tangibles, I think, at this point. Ura says, we are all God-spawned, but I am Ura, and I am stronger than my stock. So that's the quote, and it's a good one. So why God-spawn? At least two of them seem too young for Abaddon and Char worship era. And he wasn't... Okay, so yeah, let me be clear. When you hear them start talking about God spawn, I never mentioned this in the previous episode, but let's just run over this quickly. If you hear a Titan calling itself God spawn, your first thought probably should be to go straight to Abaddon. Abaddon made a fuck ton of Titans in the Foundry of Failed Creations, in the Realm of Torment. And he sent them out of there to Tyria to attack everyone. So if you're a Titan that came from the Foundry, Abaddon's Foundry, in Guild Wars 1, you'll call yourself God Spawn. You're Abaddon's spawn. Abaddon is a god, an imprisoned god, but a god nonetheless, right? So that might be your first instinct. But yeah, I don't know. Are Greer and Decima related to that Foundry, to that event? They've just been wandering around? I don't think they are. I think that someone else has relit that Foundry, or it's a totally different Foundry altogether. And there's a different god doing that. So when they call themselves God Spawn, what are they referring to? Who's the god? So there is a prevailing theory, and in fact, we could have been talking about this for about 3 episodes now. I'm going to say a word now that I haven't said this entire Let's Play, but could be where this is all going. Look at the shimmer there. Menzies. There it is. There could be a thing, right? Okay, so here, check this out. Who remembers Path of Fire? Do you guys remember doing this? Okay, this here, okay, is a place just like the Fire Island chain with the Door of Kamali, alright? The Door of Kamali was keeping an entrance to the Realm of Torment closed, an entrance to the Mists. It was keeping it closed. A couple of years, so we closed that. A couple of years later, in the Nightfall storyline, you're a hero from Nightfall, blah, blah, blah. You go on your adventure. Varesh is trying to bring about Nightfall, blah, 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 blah. And Varesh flees over here into the Desolation. You run over to Varesh and you kill her. And when she dies, it's like, this is the final boss. This is the end of the story. But instead of that being it, the reality breaks open. There's a huge rift appears in reality. She falls through it. You all fall through it. You end up in Abaddon's prison. This is a second entrance. There's the entrance that was over here. The Massart were terrified about. There is, and there's a bit of an irony there that the Massart were so obsessed with this, with the Titans. But so this was another entrance to the Realm of Torment. Okay? So, 250 years pass. Abaddon's defeated. Cormyr rises. Cormyr takes control of the realm and, in theory, the foundry. So, Cormyr controls all this shit. She turns it into the library. We visit the library. It's all okay. But when we're in the library, and it's nice enough there, she tells us that the gods are peacing out. Bye, we're leaving. We haven't just left Tyria, we're leaving the Mists as well. And in the side books in Path of Fire, you find out that the gods have some whole new world. Their garden. Their whole new world. So, Cormyr left. She had control of the foundry, because she is Abaddon in a way, but she left. She made it empty. So at the same time, Grenth left the underworld, and then we had the Hall of Chains raid, where Desmina is like taking over control because the place has been just left in jeopardy. So what do we know from the end of Path of Fire? What do we know? We know that the realm is essentially empty because Cormyr's left it. Now let's look back at the desolation in Path of Fire. There's a meta event here. The same spot that Varesh fell through, the hole in reality, there's a meta. I'm going to go there. Fuck it. It's going to be a bit of a walk. All right, I'm not going to go there. But look, over there, there's a meta. And what is in the meta? Forged. There are forged coming out of the Realm of Torment. Which suggests Balthazar, or something related, I don't know. The idea is that maybe Balthazar or his brother or something stepped up after Cormyr left. And so if Menzies is there, obviously Balthazar's dead now, but Menzies is Balthazar's half-brother. There's been all these hints about him as the game's gone along. ArenaNet have never done anything with him. He and his shadow army might be there. They might have relit the foundry. They might be making more Titans. So, finally, back to Greer, Decima, and Ura. Maybe when they call themselves Godspawn, they're not talking about Abaddon. They're talking about Menzies? Question mark? So there's the whole Menzies theory, connection, idea. Menzies final boss of Secrets of Janthir Wilds? I don't know. But the question remains, who's making those Titans? And I think Menzies is a fair theory, or Mengus, however we want to say it. Mingus. Remember, it's an Irish name. Is it? Oh, I thought it was Scottish. Wasn't Mengus Campbell Scottish? Wasn't that a thing? Anyway, so there you go. So that's all of that. Anyway, back to this. We are all Godspawn, but I am Ura. I am stronger than my stock. So, why Godspawn? At least two of them seem too young for the Abaddon Char stuff. And he was... Oh, yeah, you could call them God as well, because the Char called them gods. But they call themselves Godspawn. Anyway, and that wasn't that involved with the process of... Abaddon wasn't that involved with the process of Titan creation, was he? Well, we don't really get to know. Are they talking about some other god that somehow rekindled the soul flame? How? At the foundry. My stock could mean that she's their sibling... So all three spawned at the same time. Or my stock could mean my family, where she's their parent. Maybe Greer and Decima started as Ura's regular Titan spawn, who went on to evolve by feeding on Bloodstone or something. Yes, I think that's exactly what it is. I think you have Ura. A fragment... Ura's massive, okay? I think Ura has been around in Janthir Wilds for ages. Janthir, the continent, for ages and ages and ages. And grown and feasted. I think Ura is epically big. I'm wondering as well if Ura is the island or something. Right. I think Ura is massive and eventually has the Titan spawn come off. And I think eventually Titan spawn have the potential to grow into Titans of their own maybe or something. I think that's what ArenaNet have done. That's what captured me when I was playing that at the end of the last part. I think it's, oh, you've got these two giant Titans. Turns out they're just fragments of an even bigger one, by the way. I think that's a really cool twist, and I think that's what they did. I think they're all Ura, in a way. I'd like if ArenaNet keep the terminology intact. If Titan spawn is spawned off of Titans, God spawn should be spawned off of gods. Decima kind of treats Ura like a mother when threatening her bro in a childish manner. And which of your groveling toadies did you hide behind? I know you didn't fight them yourself. You didn't even get over here right now. I'll tell her all about it. Yeah, I guess Ura is the her that was referred to in the previous part, by the way. By the way, this is another thing I've noticed. They talk about bravery. Like in the previous quote, Decima thinks Ura should be mad if Greer didn't fight himself. Why would she even care how he fights? Then during the meta, Decima says brave small things. And Ura says during the story instance, but spill no tear, your bravery is excellent. Well pointed out, I hadn't noticed that bravery thing. Courage theme. I don't think it means anything in the grand scheme, but it's peculiar. Anyway, that's my overthinking rotation done. I loved all of that. That was great, and it's really cool to hear someone really diving into that specific dialogue, because it was also weird, wasn't it? Also, apparently Decima shares her VA with a niece, and Ura shares hers with Livia's. No speculations. That's just a neat combo. Yeah, that is cool. Also, I think... so down here, one correction. We're all Godspawn, but I am Ura. It's not a Godspawn. Yeah, I think there was those comments below is just referring to an error they'd made, which they fixed. So yeah, fun stuff. All right, nearly done, guys. I think the Massart being murdered... This is from Mayroons. I think the Massart being murdered was just a side effect of Abaddon's real goal. His goal through the whole game was just to get himself free of his prison, and I imagine opening a doorway to his realm would be a step on this plan. Oh, that's a good point as well, yeah, he's just trying to get an opening. Subsequent Titan invasion could help further. Similarly with Shiro, the plague was meant to weaken the barrier between Tyr and the Mist, yeah, and it was kind of an undeady sort of soul-related plague, wasn't it? And finally, Osiris, I'm starting to think that the earth under the isle is bloodstone, or at least a blend. Shards keep popping up from the ground. The crater is all bloodstone coloured. Everyone talking about how there's more bloodstone here than the Titans are feeding on. Yeah, I don't know. I would like tangibles on what exactly the state of this bloodstone is. I don't think that there's bloodstone under everything, though. I think that's a bit much. Well, there you go, guys. Woo! That's the Q&A bit done. And lots of fun chit-chat. We're standing right next to it now. Should we go in? Should we finish the story right here and right now? Let me see. I had a plan to do the jumping puzzles. I've got those achievements. Yeah, fuck it. Let's do it. Here we go. Time to complete Secrets of the Obscure. Now, I was under the impression from chat yesterday on the last part that this was a really long instance. And then immediately was told that it's not a really long instance. So let's see. And by the way, in the Spud Discord, somebody did link me a lore book, and I was like, I read it, and I was like, oh, that's really cool. Where was that? Thinking it was something I'd missed from Secret of the Obscure. It wasn't. It was from this instance. So I have been spoiled on one little thing, but I'll tell you what that is in a second. So, hello everybody. We all hear the game at a good volume, yeah? Oh wow, Kate is sitting up on the shelf. That's on the fireplace. That's cool. Don't catch fire now. Oh, it's muted. I've spoken with Dagonet.
They'll likely meet in the coming days.
Okay.
We failed our hunt.
We could have also died, Cub. Don't lunge into battles you're not prepared for.
Victory wasn't impossible.
Be kind to yourself, Pokey. We know our enemy now. There is still some night before a calmer dawn, but it nears.
Showing your face in the village already? I thought you needed more time.
Fading Aurora has returned to us. The path was lost, is all, while tracking the strangers.
I've asked Stoic Alder to keep my identity a secret a short while longer. I need to talk
yes, you
to
do.
Scarin.
I want to be there.
I take no joy in lying to my bearkin, but I'd rather they remain in fog a while longer. There's too much going on. I don't want to rattle their trust.
What if it's Arachnia in chat there, by the way? Holy fuck, I didn't even think about that. Arachnia, guys, is the god that was before... Okay, Arachnia might not be canon, just to be clear. They kind of canonized some of the data mine stuff. Anyway, there's an idea of a giant spider god that predates Abaddon. So if Abaddon gets absorbed by Cormyr, and then Cormyr fucks off, maybe Arachnia can... But the thing is, Abaddon would be Arachnia. Arachnia is Abaddon, just as Abaddon is Cormyr. You know, it's the same power, it's just the vessel changes. So I don't know, I think Arachnia is dead. I also think, so I was talking to Mike earlier about the spider version of Epoch and how he's actually a scorpion. And Mike said, I hate to spoil this for you, but it's just a reskinned version of that giant machine at the end of POF. And I realised how fuck it is. And it got me thinking, it would be so much cooler as a spider, but I don't think they'll do it as a spider because of the, like arachnophobia, and they'd have to add an arachnophobia mode and all that stuff. I don't think this is the franchise that will do stuff about spiders. I think any big budgeted MMO, like even kind of meany silly games that I play like Lethal Company, have arachnophobia modes and stuff. So I don't know. I feel like she's off the table. I don't think we're going to see much. We don't even see like the Driders and stuff in this game, do we? Driders are more Mistborn interesting things, by the way. Wow, that dog, by the way, that was very cute. Oh, there was loads I was going to talk about. Okay, hold on, let's just go. By the way, someone a couple of episodes ago was going on about how they loved this story because it was all about loss and stuff. And as I was reading that, I was thinking, fuck, someone's going to die. Like, oh, Stoic Alder's going to be dead, or she's going to be dead, and I was talking about that as well. They both made it out so far. I don't see that much loss. There's just the thing about Lyhr, right?
Do you regret helping us?
If I hadn't, we'd be burying our dead in the bog. The bear kin are resilient, but we must recognize our limitations. It does not mean I'm not cautious of you or of waiting sorrow. I will continue to remind myself that no matter how thick the fog is, it will eventually fade. When it does, the path will be visible again. For now, I watch and listen.
Can we stop pretending ArenaNet cares about arachnophobia from Shroom? And then Coolboy Jake immediately says, yeah, they had the whole spider mount. They scrapped a spider mount because specifically on the grounds of arachnophobia. So it is proven that they have thought and cared about that before. You know, random spiders that aren't that big and don't have a big bearing on the story and stuff. I feel like it's quite different than really focusing and making a whole campaign about that. You know, like. But hey, poised arrow.
I understand you're frustrated, but you need to know when the risk just isn't worth the potential cost.
Then when will it be worth it? We've screwed it up twice, thrice, counting your first go-around. How many times do we let that happen before being cautious becomes the risk?
Little Claw, the scale of this is greater than any of us expected. Impulsivity isn't the
Look,
answer.
we're doing the Scepter of War thing again.
Then what is? What if they're out there killing while we're just standing around?
Poised arrow.
I'm just asking the questions everyone else should be.
There's a theme going on here that is summed up very well there. Please have printed it, thank you. He phrased that so well. Where is it? Here we go. How many times do we let that happen before being cautious becomes the risk? This is the same conversation that was happening at Lion's Arch. Where, again, the very usually distant, slow to act Isgarin was actually doing the reverse on that one. He was saying, yeah, use it straight away. Alright, Mattis.
Sorry we couldn't kill them.
I'm a strategist. Didn't see another way.
Doesn't mean you have to like it.
Oh, I don't. Hey, we're fine. Made it out with our tails intact. Just a lot to untangle. You know what I'm thinking? How different would things be if the Titans hadn't mucked everything up? If we didn't burn Ascalon? Probably still eat people. I'm spitting about blood that belongs on someone else's hands.
Oh, is this her apologizing for the
We
serum?
weren't good, but we turned out okay. The Char. Well, better now that Bangar's in a cell.
Yeah,
But how do we live with all this? It just gets hard to weigh the guilt and the anger.
Someone has to look out for whoever comes next.
Yeah. Yeah, we're alive. Sometimes that's enough. And I've worked too damn hard to make this place bearable.
Okay. Again, well, we talked about it enough. Keith, up here. It's got. Seeing her do this made me want to sit. Oh, and I can. No, I can't. Yeah, I was hitting my hotkey, and it's not allowing me in this instance.
That didn't go as planned.
Hardly the first time. We're plenty used to that. But I'm afraid the cub is taking it hard.
Losing gracefully comes with experience.
Well, at that age, you're beating down the door to the world, ready for whatever life dares to throw at you. Because you don't yet know how much life can throw. But you find out quickly.
Still can't help but worry about him sometimes.
That's how it goes. One minute they're silly little things, toddling around, worrying you sick. The next, they're grown. Big and strong and off on their own.
I hate
Still
this.
worrying you sick.
I hate this.
But that's when you have to remind yourself. You've done exactly what you were supposed to. Taught them to stand on their own. And then let them.
Don't write Keith like some wise, legitimate, normal parent. Alright? She raised, air quotes, a dragon that spent most of its time flying around. I mean, who am I to say what it was doing off screen? I don't know. I don't buy it. I don't buy that her experience with Aureen is like what we go through when we have babies as humans in the real world. I don't need to hear her reminiscing about, like, what's the word? I want to say rearing Aureen. I'm not on board with that. I mean, it's not a big deal. Don't worry, guys. If you know, but it's a bit odd. I don't know whether I should speak to Waiting Story first or go upstairs. I doubt it will kick me out straight away. She raised God. You think there's some satire? Yeah, I mean, I hope so. Yeah, I do. I really do. I think, okay, let me just say, if I'm role-playing, if I'm the commander here listening to her say that, I'm like rolling my eyes. Big time rolling my eyes. Like, it's like when someone spends 5 minutes doing something and then they act like they're an expert, you know? It's like, no. Major white woman with dogs vibe. Yes, it's a little bit like that. Exactly, yeah. There's a bit in The Office about that, actually, as well, isn't there? All right, let's go upstairs and see. Hello, Bjarki. We can pet you. They allow us to pet absolutely everything. Here we go. Stoic Alder's journal. The ocean smell. Oh, this is his reflections. This is his reflections on the meeting. The ocean smells different here in Lion's Arch. Yeah, salty, the brine, the pirates. The coasts of Janthir are harsh, frigid, and unwelcoming to gentler folk. But there's an alluring melancholy to it, when one watches storms gather above the isles to the north. The air in Kryta is warm, the sandy beaches soft under the paw. From what I've read, the city has rebuilt itself time and time again, salvaging what it could from what came before. The Wayfinder and I met with the Tyrian Alliance, a colourful assembly as one would expect. I found their discussions insightful, though a bit dramatic for my liking. Do you know what? I'm having a very strong image here of a bear, like, sitting at a table writing. It's like a scene out of Goldilocks, you know. Fortunately, the road of caution was observed and chosen regarding some magic artifacts. Fortunately. I don't believe that he would think that's fortunate. He has no context for any of this stuff, except that there's something that might have been able to help his people from dying, and they all opted not to use it. Why is that so fortunate in his mind? Anyway, the road of caution was observed and chosen regarding some magic artifact, though I'm doing my best to understand the varied perspectives. With discussions cooling to a simmer, the Wayfinder hurried back to Harvest Den. No time to rest, that one. Afterward, a few of the delegates took me on a tour of the city. At one point... Okay, so we're still in Lion's Arch after the commanders left. At one point, the human captain spoke with a finely dressed, black and white furred char. Some well-to-do merchant. Is this Evan? Some well-to-do merchant, I'd wager. My presence seemed to perk his curiosity. No doubt they were interested in more than showing me around. What are new friends but new customers, eh? Yeah, can I just remind you guys to give me your donations? What are new friends but new customers? I did receive a nice gift by the end of it, though. My choice. That's like when you get in-game and, you know, there's like you get a freebie, you know. In the evening, a child of the bitter wind, the wolf soul Bram. A child of the bitter wind, the wolf soul Bram. What a fucking title, eh? Convinced me to indulge in the local offerings. Wait, do they get drunk together a bit like in Grothmar? Between plates of smoked seafoods and several mugs of honey wine, decent by human standards, because obviously he'd have high tastes with all the honey around here. I was regaled with several stories of the boy's adventures with the commander. Oh, look, he's become our fanboy. Maybe it was the wine talking, but I felt a little cozier about the idea of Pokey following this would-be hero around. We traded tales long into the night. The boy was oddly spellbound. As I helped him get back to his lodging, I caught the glint of a tear or two. Perhaps it was the buzz of being 6 pints deep, but I asked. He mentioned his paw once or twice. Passed when he was young. In his words, listening to me spin tales of my home, of silken weir and her fight against Jormag, it was as if a voice, my words, became his paw. I'm back at Harvest Den now. Isgaran was generous enough to offer me passage. Were I not to step through a magic door anytime soon, I would count myself lucky. I made sure to leave Bram an open invite to visit our village. I think he and Pokey would make fast friends. Okay, this is lovely. I think the really big takeaway here is they're talking about Bram's dad again. And I do really believe that we will meet Borge the Sun Chaser in one of these mini-X packs. He's too perfect of a character not to have in one of those locations. If we do get a story where we go to Dislana or the Sunlit Isles or whatever, one of these places that the Dermot Priory map had the trade lanes to, I think that could all be an excellent idea to establish there are more Norn there. He's one of them. He's either a great hero or a great villain among those people, and Bram's discovery of all of that, I think that would be lots of fun. Oh, we did get a donation from that. I was 100% joking, but thank you very much, Sinan. Thank you very much. WP Stoic said he's aware of the outside world. Yeah, but they are nonetheless isolationist, right? Like, you can be aware, you can have small details, but I wouldn't even expect your average Lion's Arch citizen to know the details of the Scepter of Ore, right? Let alone someone as isolationist as these guys. No, Bram's dad isn't necessarily... Oh, wait, is he dead? What's the story with his dad? I thought he just left. I know Bram's saying he's dead in this, but I think Bram just thinks he's dead. Oh, no, he did die. The short story introducing Bram is his dad dying. He's on his, like, deathbed. So the idea isn't to meet the dad. The idea is to meet the people where his dad came from and why he got the name the Sun Chaser and all that, right? And this would be kind of a cool way to start talking about Air a little bit more. Yeah, Air left. Yeah, I think the very first short story is him on his deathbed. But nonetheless, there's a cool suggestion there about where he came from, and which ArenaNet are looking at. That's sort of what I'm getting at. There are mysteries associated with Bram's dad, and look, they're once again talking about Bram's dad. Thank you for correcting me. That's another one of those little things, you know, some of these little details I end up tripping over or getting reversed, like that Abaddon thing. Okay, so that's one book. Are there any others? I mean, that was nice. It's certainly not the big Titan thing. I'm sure there's a book about Titans that we read in a second. Can I just say, on the topic of whether this is a long instance or not, yeah, this is this is long enough. You know, there's stuff to read and do. I know that if you're just zooming through, you just press F a couple of times and then you leave, but obviously we're getting more out of it than that. Oh, I've just now realised we're in the place we were doing all the cooking, aren't we? Oh, maybe not? No, we're not. But some elements are the same. Okay.
When I left the Wizard's Tower, a Wayfinder hadn't been named in years. They must trust you.
Oh, I've got a cool topic about that coming up, by the way.
First, but helping them keep Omnitas afloat and defeating Isgaran's nemesis didn't hurt.
Will you come with me? I could use that confidence of yours.
Of course. I'm not dead in the canyon. None of us are, thanks to you.
Okay. All right, well, so, by the way, we're going to talk about Turai Ossa. We're actually going to do a quest. Oh, she's not waiting.
Whenever you're ready.
Okay. Wait, what the fuck? We're going to the Wizard's Tower now? Really? Okay, just a bit of game structure stuff here. Obviously, the Wizard's Tower was sold as a part of Secrets of the Obscure. And now we're in a different... You know, I could be a player that never bought that, so I've been wondering. Like, they can't have quests here take you back there or there easily, necessarily. But here we get to go back anyway. So I love this already. We're going to the tower. Like, I kind of ruled it out as a location for this expansion, but it's not. We're going there. Okay, here we go. Is there anything she said here? Are we going to get the Isgaran Waiting Sorrow meeting now? Yeah, there are a few situations where they've done it in the past. Holy shit. So I guess, like, talk about this being a sequel, you know. This is not self-contained on any level. And I don't think at any point we should expect it to be. And obviously we've talked a lot about that already. Welcome home.
How did you get past Omnitas's defenses so easily?
I built these defenses.
So, how do you want to go about this?
I'll follow behind, let you mingle first. Might trigger a war if I walk through the door before his ego is properly fluffed. Oh, wait.
Feels out of nowhere.
Before we throw another log on the fire, thank you for not telling them.
Yeah, I was a liar in this expansion.
It's not my story to tell. But you should.
I think I missed a comment. I swear I was going to read a comment from someone which was about how you can detect that Frode sort of knew that we were lying before. I'm sure I took that screenshot. I might have skipped a comment, and in which case I might have skipped a whole row of them. But whatever. We can do it next part.
She informs us that there are not 2, but 3, all of which survived the encounter. 2 are weak, the 3rd unsure.
Excellent timing, Commander. I take it you won't need an update, given your participation in recent events?
Can you shut the door behind you, Wayfinder?
Oh, I don't know about that. Should I? Alright, okay, you stay out there, Philly, stay out there. Oh, we've got more books.
Who let you into the Wizard's Tower war room, Countess?
Iskarin, by suggestion of the Alliance. I'm aiding in the Astral Ward's acclamation to modern Tyrian affairs.
So, they all live. I imagine you didn't simply allow that to happen. What were the circumstances?
What has your mood smelling like an Elder's backside?
We almost had the 2 defeated, but a 3rd intervened. She was strong, and a bit more cunning than the other 2.
Disappointing, but rational. What of your second mission, Wayfinder?
The Titans kept me occupied. I'm still working on it.
Fine. I suppose our plot bears too many hands.
What second mission?
The Titan Imperatrix. A foe I did not expect.
Imperatrix?
That threat should be conquerable. So long as we continue to get along.
Tyria united. It still sounds like a fable.
Mostly united, but it's true. And we need to nurture these bonds. They cannot fail.
Dude, I'd love to have 4 arms.
When a door is shut, you should leave it that way.
Sorrow.
Oh, look, they were super close.
Ren.
She's calling him Ren.
Lied to me.
Is Garen.
That's new. Did she fill your mind with wild theories and hypocrisy?
It's not a major lie,
Don't
mate.
be
It's 2
dramatic,
seconds revealed.
Ren. You know they're beyond simple manipulation. And I didn't come here for a fight.
We had a donation there. Thank you very much, Robin Dahood, for the $5. That's very nice of you. Thank you. Imagine Wait is Greer and Decima, then Ura, and then Menzies. I don't know what you mean there exactly. But if that's like the tier list, maybe? Yeah, like the structure of their setup. Menzies is above Ura, and then Ura, and then Greer and Decima. Yeah, my lie of omission, yeah. No, I think I just outright lied there. I didn't even omit details. I just lied. So how was your second mission? And she said, and I said, where is it? Yeah, I'm still working on it because the Titans kept me occupied. That's just a lie. I mean, it's basically is a lie. Anyway, yeah, what is this? The Titan Imperatrix. A foe I did not expect. What is a Titan Imperatrix? That's Ura, obviously, I guess, right? But that's a title. So what are we talking about? Like the ultimate Titan? The one at the top of the stack of Matryoshka dolls, or however we pronounce that? Okay, I'm going to stand on the table. I know it's rude, but it's the only way to get to eye level with you. Jin Isgarin. I would love him to reveal his true form. Explain yourself, Wayfinder, now. I feel like he's been written slightly different in this scene. You told me she was a threat. I don't see one. Did you expect me to detain her myself? I brought her to you. Whatever qualms you have about her are unrelated. Yeah, here, look. No, what do I want to say? I wouldn't ever say the top one because I don't know her very well. She could be a threat. We're talking about thousands of years of story and history here, right? Through which she did just abandon them and just go wandering off. So, yeah, I don't know. I don't know whether I'm fully on board with all that. They are unrelated to me, but I want to be in everyone else's business. So here, I'm going to say this. Did you expect me to detain her myself? I brought her to you.
Did you expect me to detain her myself? I figured I'd bring her straight to you.
Still not eye level with a jump.
I'll deal with you later. So, how did you get inside?
The Towers always liked me best. You know that.
Waiting sorrow. You're...
My dearest friend. I'm fine. And I have stories to tell you.
Stories! The cause of this whole Titan incursion may fall at your feet, and you want to tell stories.
Your instinct to make everything an intellectual brawl has always been exhausting.
Then explain.
So help me, Isgarin. I will open a gateway and lock you in Abaddon's cell for a century.
It's fine, Dagda.
Why
His
is everyone
alarm
piling
isn't
on?
unwarranted.
Yeah.
I left you all. I abandoned the Astral Ward. I didn't say why. Jormag
After
raged
taking their
over
gifts.
threatening the Highland and Lowland Coden. They needed me.
Why alone?
But when Jormag fell, the storms calmed. My mind was stilled. And I couldn't return yet, though. I needed them. My people.
But you can't just drop a note?
My presence during the Titan attack was purely happenstance. I sought to remedy it. But then your Wayfinder tracked me down. All who knew my identity were asked to conceal it. But I always planned on coming back here to settle affairs. While I was not the cause, I have an inkling of what was. And I don't know how concerning it is.
Okay, well, what do you know? Let's talk.
Oh. You didn't even
Yeah.
share this with me.
The business of wizards should remain in the court. Isgarin,
Oh.
where is Mabon?
Oh, I like this.
Dead. A year ago. You could have mourned with
Or
us.
prevented it.
I felt it.
Died to escort the Countess and Wayfinder home. Waiting Sorrow and I need to speak. Alone.
Oh, they're going to write me out of the room? Really? Well, what about that book over there? I'm not reading until I at least interact with that. It'd be amazing if they just kick me out with like magic now. Join Dagda outside so that Wait and Sorrow and Isgarin can discuss matters privately. He's annoying. I have business. I don't have to tell you. Well, to be fair, it is his organisation, and it has been hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of years. We are essentially a nobody. I mean, not totally. I mean, I think that there's a lot of reason the commander should be allowed to stay. Anyway, let's see this here. A Collective History, Volume 6. It's not attributed to anyone. So here, let's see. My friends, fear not. Some charades are meant to end. While we serve Tyria with our magics of mirage, misdirection, and even the manipulation of time itself, I cannot carry on as I have, not without sharing this bit of truth, my truest self. Your companionship is worth more to me than any secret that is solely mine to keep. My name is Mabon. I am Masat. Mabon, formerly Oberyn, Fifth Veil, addressing the inner and outer councils. Ah, so in the Extra Life quest, we heard about this weird I can't remember what the details were, but it was like a character that could transform almost or shapeshift. I think we were speculating that he could have been a djinn. And then, before Secrets of the Obscure came out, when we saw the seer in the concept art, we were wondering if that was going to be a Bryn as well. Like, you can check out my first reaction video to the Wizard's Tower announcement thing. And it was all like, oh my god, is that Oberyn from the Extra Life? And then it turned out to be Isgarin, and the word Oberyn hasn't really been on my lips ever since. But here, I guess ArenaNet are confirming this, that it wasn't Isgarin, it was Mabon the whole time. I'd kind of like to go back to that Extra Life quest now and read it with the perspective that was Mabon. Maybe this was actually revealed as well in part in Secrets of the Obscure, I just didn't notice. We all have our secrets. I was a fresh face to the inner council and a new father, my son still but a babe wobbling beneath Bear's protective gaze. The veils of both councils, and even the keener members of the Shroud, were wary that the Collector's fifth veil, one of its founders, had spent over a century participating at a distance. There were some folks, me included, who were ignorant of the Massat and their history. Third Veil, Sita Lostour, and I were the first to speak with Mabon after the Council's deliberations, if he should remain on the Inner Council, much less in the Collective. I wanted to reintroduce myself, offer him a drink or 10 at the Muse's bar, on my tab. He obliged, perhaps not only out of guilt, but I assured him he was among friends. He still is. A few glasses in, Mabon was as generous with our questions as I suspected he could be. It was clear that he had allegiances beyond the Collective. Many of us do. He was stressing over a trip northward, to Janthir, to the ruins of an old Massat city. Said it was penance for the past, a promise made. One former monster to another. Wow. Oh my god, I really like the way that all came out. I don't know though, So, the Mesmer Collective knew that one of their members was like glamoured, was another creature. Mabon finally steps forwards. He says, some charades are meant to end. And he says, look, I'm a Massat. So now they're all like, fuck, we have a Massat with us. Naturally, the Crichtons among them. I thought it was mostly a Crichton organisation, to be honest. But they are not going to... They see the Massat as evil, as bad guys, as whatever. They're like, I don't know if I want a Massat. So he thinks he's going to get kicked out or whatever. So they meet up. Now, who is it speaking? Who is speaking at the bottom? We get the quote from Mabon as he's revealed himself. But who wrote this? A member of the Mesmer Collective. By the way, this is volume 6. Is there a volume 1 through 5? Is it a Norn? Because he talks about Bear's protective gaze. I'm assuming the spirit of the wild, Bear. And he's got a new son. There's a member. There's a Norn member, a Norn father in the Mesmer Collective. I can't remember. It is so long ago. The Extra Life stuff. You know what, guys? Looking back, do you remember when that Extra Life quest came out? And I said, holy fuck, this is dealing with like a lot of cool Guild Wars 1 lore. This is a lot of interconnected lore. This is a lot of lore that's like I thought had been dropped and forgotten forever. Do you remember that Extra Life quest coming out? And I said, wow, this is like on a whole other level. It's a very different feeling story to most of the stuff we'd been experiencing. That really feels like the turning point to me now, actually, looking back. That really feels like they changed tack there. We have read 1 to 5 already. Like, look at this. Hold on. Volume 4 and 5 were in the Extra Life quest from 3 years ago. That's crazy. A patch that came in as a part of a real-world event, not aligned with anything else, 3 years ago, and now we get Volume 6. Oh, wait. You think this is Frode? No, he says he has a son, not a daughter. Frode has a daughter. And besides, would there really be 2 members of these guys in that collective? I'm looking at chat here a bit more here. Yeah, because they had Baradin stuff in it, yes. Diamond Rosette says, I did this book here made me go do the Extra Life quest this morning. I missed it when it released, and I didn't even know it existed until I looked at the wiki page for this book. Well, go on, tell me. Give us your insights, Diamond. You've just played it. You remember it. Someone else says, honestly, I'm really interested in Kazmir's opinion about all this. Especially as she was a member of the collective. Well, yeah, she was a member. She wasn't just petitioning. Yeah, this is... So, I hate to do this. I'm not trying to stall or go too slow. I just want to read it again. We all have it. So, this Norn is saying... This Norn is reflecting on the Mabon reveal. We all have our secrets. I was a fresh face to the inner council and a new father. My son's still but a babe wobbling beneath... This isn't Borges, is it? Because the previous thing that they gave us was some people drinking and having fun in Lion's Arch and reminding us about Borges the Sun Chaser. It's not going to turn out this is Borges, right? Because we have the exact same scene again. We all have our secrets. I was a fresh face to the inner council and a new father, Bram, my son, Bram, but a babe wobbling beneath Bear's protective grace. The veils of both councils and even the keener members of the Shroud were wary that the Collector's fifth veil, one of its founders, had spent over a century participating at a distance. So Mabon would glamour himself and he'd also be far away. There were some folks, me included, who were ignorant of the Massart. And he's a Norn, so he's ignorant of the Massart. I gotcha. And their history. Third Veil Seater Lost Hour and I were the first to speak with Mabon after the Council's deliberations, if he should remain on the Inner Council, much less in the Collective. I wanted to reintroduce myself, offer him a drink or 10 at the Muse's bar, on my tab. He obliged, perhaps only out of guilt, but I assured him he was among friends he still is. This is crazy. A Norn and a Massart drinking. By the way, the Muse's bar, is it Lion's Arch? I'm just guessing now. I don't know what that's me making a leap. I just tend to think melting pot of all races, pirates boozing. I don't know. A few glasses in, Mabon was as generous with our questions as I suspected he could be. It was clear he had allegiances beyond the Collective, i.e. these guys here with this Garin and so on. Many of us do. See, if this is Borges speaking, he's thinking about, you know, wherever he's from and whatever he's been doing. He was stressing out... By the way, another cool mystery to think about still is Askia's, like, wife or whatever. I forget her name, but she's a cool mystery. He was stressing over his trip northward to Janthir, to the ruins of an... So what do we get tangibly here? Mabon... This was when Mabon was told to put the veil over there. He was stressing over a trip... Oh, by the way, that's a nice little touch. Remember the Mesmer Collective hid the Tower of Nightmares. These guys specialized in concealment. They were able to conceal this entire tower. Mabon, likewise, a member of that group, was putting this barrier up, a similar barrier, around Barbanissos and so on. I mean, did he hide it, though? I'm making a connection there that doesn't exist, I think. He was stressing over a trip northward to Janthir, to the ruins of an old Massart city. Said it was penance for the past. A promise made. One former monster to another. So who are the two monsters? Mabon is one of them. And obviously there's been so many things that suggest Mabon did terrible things once, but was alright in the end. So who is as far as I know, he's making that promise to Isgarin. Isgarin asked him to do it, right? Didn't we hear that somewhere? I can't remember exactly where. So this suggests that Isgarin also did some horrible stuff in his past? Or is there something else? The promise was made, there's a different promise. I mean, they said he did it at Isgarin's behest, but maybe there's a little bit more. Oh my god, I almost missed this. A letter from Lyhr. Yeah, why is he not in this scene? Hello? Isgarin, I was initially nervous to stand in for you at the Alliance proceedings. There aren't many stoneless dwarves in Tyria, something that might encourage a slurry of personal questions. I suspect, well, he's talking about the Lion's Arch meeting we just had, obviously. I suspect word will make it back to my people now. A sobering thought, given I haven't been among them since just before the first dwarves turned, before I was picked up by the ward. But I digress. You and Dagda can recall those days far better than I can. That's such an interesting thought. Nostalgic musings aside, my first couple of days have gone well. The leaders and delegates are a lively bunch. There were times I thought I might split from some of the more heated discussions. Yeah, have the two Lyhirs there. But cooler heads seem to prevail. I'm in my element. Currently we're in talks concerning the quarantine and cleanup of Rata Primus in Dajka. That's so interesting. They specifically call it Dajka. And they're talking about Rata Primus? Holy fuck, that's cool. This is obviously... I mean, let's throw Zin in here. Let's see what Zin thinks about this place. Councillor Iman and their Omakhan neighbours are hoping to rally Arcane Council support, and Ludo seems optimistic. I suggest the ward offer additional support in this. If there's anything left in those ruins in need of containment, we are well equipped for that sort of thing. What would they find there? Awakened experiments, portals? Of course, I'll wait for your response. Last point of order. They were studying the scarab plague as well, weren't they? Wasn't that a thing? Last point of order while I have you. I shouldn't have to remind you, of all people, that when you're here, you represent both the court and the astral ward. Allying with Countess Exemplar was a shrewd choice, but remember, there are others here worthy of your time and attention, even if you don't see the immediate benefits. Be seeing you, Lyhr. I don't understand what he's grumpy about at the end here. Someone fill me in? You're representing both the Wizard's Court and the Astral Ward. There are others worthy of your time and attention, even if you don't see the immediate benefits. I don't know. What's he alluding to there? Thoughts? Maybe drop a message in the live chat or something for the comments. Alright. I guess I'll leave now. Good stuff. I love that we're back here. Really good stuff.
What next?
Oh, the portal's open. Oh, okay. The door hasn't even shut. Okay, what do you think, Dagda? It's your old buddy.
You okay? I'm...
Every day that passed since she left us, I thought she was dead. I thought that Jormag might have killed her, that she traveled into the mists, no intention of returning. I thought... None of that matters. She lives. Waiting sorrow lives. I don't know how you did it, Wayfinder, but you brought her back.
I did.
Thank you.
That's okay. Friendly reflection. We also get one with Anise here.
How did you get involved in all of this?
It was Livia. A perk of having friends with their fingers in too many pies. She introduced me to Mabon privately. He was scouting new recruits for his little guild of mesmers. I joined if only to keep tabs for the Queen. We were an eccentric group, hosting lavish luncheons, investigating magic anomalies. Mabon treated the whole thing like a passion project or a beloved hobby. He was one of the founders, after all.
Sounds like the ideal place for him to let his hair down.
You joke. But I saw what he looked like under that golden dome on numerous occasions.
And?
Yeah.
Nothing that bears repeating.
Really no.
I happen to know you're friendly with a certain Mr. Goldclaw, and I would not sully Mabon's memory so soon.
Fair enough.
Wow, what?
He would have been glad to see you here. With or without his helmet.
That's hilarious.
I wish I'd trusted him sooner. Gods know he's earned that now.
There you go, there's some tangibles. Mabon founded it. Got them together. And she was a member. So he kind of got kicked out of his own group in the end, really. Oh, this is really good. Mabon, in theory, has nothing to do with this X-Pack, but here we are talking about him. Love it. Okay, bye-bye, I guess. Through the portal. Not missing anything, am I, guys? You're not going to turn out that if I press F on this door, it will open, and there'll be a goddamn book in there. Yeah, they brought Snargle into the finale, yeah. Like the commander would hear that Mabon is cute, and then he'd go rushing off to tell Snargle. Are we really friends? I mean, when was my last scene with Snargle? Surely it was EOD with the Kippo stuff. Okay, that was called Sorrow in These Halls, by the way. Little pun. Ah, we get the Endless Bearkin Combat Tonic for completing the story. Hold on, did I get an Endless Combat Tonic for being secretly obscure? I don't think so. Listen, Janet, if you're going to be putting these combat tonics in the main story rewards, and I agree they're amazing, they're really cool items, they're really cool rewards, they're really bad. Please, let's get the QOL update in there. Come on. Look, and I'll demonstrate it right now. If I drink the tonic... How the fuck am I doing this? Big issue, first of all. Add. Where are we? There, down here. Bearkin. Right, if I drink this... Oh my god. How have I mouse over every single thing? Here, I want to be able to mount. I can't mount. Either disable it and throw me on the mount, or let me mount on it. But then secondly, when I'm on a mount, if you've disabled it, let me pop me back in it straight away. The mount thing is huge. And then also, when I map load, when I swap maps, auto-drink it. Or give me a prompt auto-drinker or something, I don't know. It kills the combat tonics. Combat tonics were just getting going in Season 3. They were really good, they were starting to shine, and then mounts got added in POF and really ruined them for actual practical gameplay. Not everyone's going to have this keybound really quickly and comfortably. Anyway, I like it. It looks good, doesn't it? Do I have a dance and everything? Well, we do. Nice. And I've seen you guys playing alongside me with this as well. This guy looks like Lys from 14. Jesus. All right. Cool. So I want to read the journal here now. Janthir Wilds. Sorrow in these halls. Following the fight, I met with my allies back at Harvest Den. After all our research, all our struggle, nothing is dead. An airship could have crashed outside, and the mood would still be solemn. Jesus. Kaith had already informed Dagonet and the Alliance, and Pokey was just about ready to kick down a wall in frustration, as Malice talked him down. We're all disappointed, but we're alive. I was surprised to see Waiting Sorrow there too. Stoic Alder explained that fading Aurora had mysteriously turned back up, a small blessing on a sour day. Sorrow's identity was secure, at least for now. For the sake of the Coden's clarity of mind in trying times, holding a reveal into a calmer moment feels critical. Learning that their former... That might be how they open, and that might be like the opening scene in 3 months. Learning that their friendly healer from the Shiver Peaks is a millennia-old wizard might not be the existential realization they need. And Alder and Pokey don't need to know about the whole missing voice part yet either. I have a question. She ran away from the court, right? The ward. Ages ago. When did she run away? How long has she been living with them? Because surely they've noticed she doesn't age and stuff. How long has she been with them? It can't have been that long. It can't have been more than 1 generation. It can't even have been a quarter of a generation. So what was she doing before all of that? It's just that thing of like needing to know the timelines, I guess, a bit more. By the way, is my character just idly spinning the spear just for funsies? That doesn't happen ordinarily, does it? I've just heard that happen twice. Here, look at that. Oh my god, that's cool. What the fuck? Sometime after Ceres and Deimos killed Vas and Akeem, after the wizard's founding. Do we know just how the Coden age? Oh, you think the Coden themselves are long-lived? Sometime after 604 AE, so like 600 years. That's a lot of time. That's a lot of time. She can't have been living with them that whole time. She can only just have gone to them. Desperate for tangibles again. Sort of tipping over into frustration, I think, at this point. Okay, for the sake of the Coden's clarity of mind in trying times, holding a reveal until blah, 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 blah. Learning that she's a millennia-old wizard might not be the existential realization they need, and Alder and Pokey don't even know about the whole missing voice part yet either. That's crazy to see this all written here. It's really expecting... It's like the commanders read that blog post and knows it fully. I'm not sure that was all well established in-game, actually. While everyone reflected on the battle, Waiting Sorrow asked me to accompany her back to the Wizard's Tower. With ambiguity looming on the horizon, keeping herself hidden from Isgaran any longer would only complicate things. I agreed, and she opened a portal for us to cross through. When we arrived in the familiar, crisp air of the Wizard's Tower, I asked how she managed to get past Isgaran's defences. Very matter-of-factly, she told me she'd cast these defences herself. Waiting Sorrow is no threat to the Wizard's Tower. Even that's just such a crazy risk. She runs away. What if she got risen or became... You know, that knowledge can be used against this place if she gets manipulated or corrupted or whatever. It's such a disastrous thing to just run away. And her reasoning was, like, shockingly shitty. Before, and especially after Jormag was dealt with, it's like, okay, get back on it. But she didn't. Anyway, before entering the war room where Isgarin waited, Sorrow thanked... Oh yeah, she said, didn't she? She's been with the Lowland Coden after Jormag left. They explained that. We dealt with Jormag. She's no longer experiencing the voices in her head, because that's like the hint that Jormag was doing that to the voices over the years. It might not have been Coda, it might have been Jormag. So Jormag's gone, so she comes back, right? So then she goes to live with them. So that won't have been that would have been very little time until, since the Jormag stuff only recently happened, right? Just before EOD. I think that's the idea. She's wandering on her own before then. For 600 years. Okay, before entering the war room to where Isgarin waited, Sorrow thanked me for not telling Stoic, Alder and Poised Arrow about her darker history. It's simply not my story to tell, but she should soon. Between Poised Arrow, Stoic, Alder and Isgarin, I don't envy her situation, but I do empathise. It was of her own making. When I entered the war room, I was surprised to see Anise fully at home, going over intel with Isgarin and Dagda. During every stage of this journey, I've both been surprised and completely accepting of the Countess's involvement of the Wizard's Court. If anyone knew about them before the rest of the world, it would have been her. When Isgarin looked to me for news on Sorrow's status, I played ignorant. Yeah, I felt like Anise being here made perfect sense. I played ignorant, knowing all too well that his target would be walking through that door, and then she did. Dagda's jaw dropped to the floor as Sorrow entered the war room. Instead of launching herself at her, which would have been a fascinating battle to witness, Isgarin turned to me instead. Why are we acting like there's so much emotion here? Sorrow, exposed and vulnerable, posed no detectable threat to him, but Isgarin sought to assign blame. I let him be mad. I'm the one who brought her back after all. I just didn't bother with chains or shackles. The rest was up to the two of them. Thankfully, Dagda snarled Isgarin down. Her friend had returned, and she wasn't going to let the room come to blows. Well, were they going to fight? Really? I completely misinterpreted all of this. I didn't feel like there was... Or whatever. When Isgarin's temper finally calmed enough to have a mature conversation, Sorrow's temper... What is this? What do you mean? She asked Isgarin if Mabon was dead, and while our ancient friend was gearing up for a guilt trip... Gearing up for a guilt trip? Sorrow said that she felt it. Her words had weight, and even if I didn't know what that weight meant, Isgarin picked up on it immediately, though, and Dagda... and asked Dagda to usher the Countess and me out of the room without another word. Yeah, she felt Mabon's death. What did that mean exactly? That's got to be related to her ability to... That's got to be related to her construction of the Heart of the Obscure. And the fact that the Heart of the Obscure could pull, like, emotions out when we were in... at the end of Secrets of the Obscure in the Citadel and all that stuff. There's some kind of communion thing going on. Titans, missing wizards, now found. Mabon's memory, suddenly suspect. What's going on here? Titans, missing wizards, now found. Mabon's memory, suddenly suspect. What's going on here? I don't understand the final sentence. What's suspect about Mabon's memory? It's really weird. It's like they're trying to force something that I don't see as well with all this weird... the way they're framing certain scenes. But here... she felt that Mabon was dead. Isgarin totally gets that straight away because they will have invented these things together or whatever. They understand the magic of play. That's fine. But in what way does that translate into Mabon's death being suspect? Feels like things are missing. Yeah, we've had this a lot of times with Guild Wars as well, where the story journal alludes to or talks about things in a way that really weren't presented in game. I think the very end of EOD had a lot of really crazy like references to things that hadn't actually happened. Like the devs have a canon that they know, but it hasn't made into the game. Yeah, that's a good way of phrasing it. You think it's referencing what Mabon was doing at Parvanissos? But again, that was at Isgarin's request, wasn't it? Might have been a line that was edited out. Yeah, that's the vibe I get. I don't know. Weird. The way this is written seems very ham-fisted to me. Like they're very hard going on. Isgaren's a bad guy and emotional and juvenile and immature and it seems very forced in one direction that I don't really feel is justified. But I'm gonna have to go along with it because that's clearly the story they want to write. And his characterization seems a lot more jankily written, I think, in this compared to Secrets of the Obscure. Or hell, maybe even earlier in this one. But there it is. Yeah, so there's nothing unlocked at the end there. So one thing I'd like to compliment here that I think is much better than the end of Secrets of the Obscure. Secrets of the Obscure, obviously you've got the bulk release, and then you've got the post patches, and so it's like there's two halves of the story, right? Because you've got chapters 1 to 10 now, and then chapters 11 to 20 as the year goes along. Two halves. And in Secrets of the Obscure, ArenaNet basically tried to write an ending for the launch. They had a big boss fight at the end. They kind of had one here, but we defeated the guy. I think, did they even roll the credits? I think they rolled the credits. They kind of made a lot of fanfare. There was like a post story exploration, like wrap-up scene. It's like they told a whole story, and then they had to tell another whole story in the second half, which was just in knives. It didn't flow together very well, and so Secrets of the Obscure kind of structurally felt like it was being told in two halves. They wrote an ending, basically. Chapter 10 was kind of a mini ending. It seems that for this mini X-Pack, they didn't do that, and I think that's much better. Don't write a mini ending. Like, the story just stops there halfway. And I know that feels a bit like, oh, but when all is said and done, and when all is out, that will be better. It will be a better experience to play through all of this. The pacing isn't fucked. They're just telling it all. I think that's the better way of going.
Companions of the Lowlanders.
So I'm quite happy with that there's no ending, that, you know, we'll just play along. And I feel fine with that. You know, we all know we're going to be getting the rest of the story as the patches go along. We bought into that when we picked it up. So there you go. That's the end. Now, in chat, anybody want my attention? Any questions, thoughts, reflections?
I don't know how that magic.
Yeah, they've suddenly started writing like a 1,000-year-old teenager.
When I got close to one.
I immediately thought in that episode before where they had that thing, oh, I screamed and opened a portal to the domain of anguish. That felt so out of character. I was like, that can't be real. But maybe not.
We know that war claws are bound by potent souls.
I got a mail. Did I get a mail from Zizzle? Really? No, I have a thing for the Fractal Rush. Yeah, Zizzle's thing's an interesting little touch as well. I wonder if that's updated now that we've finished the story. WP, who do you think the monster Mabon referred to in the history book is? The one he would meet in Barbanissos or the female Masat Dada? Like I said a second ago, I thought it was Isgaren. But maybe not. He was stressing over a trip northward to Janthir, to the ruins of an old Masat city. Said it was penance for the past, a promise made one former monster to another. Yeah, but he's going there on Isgaren's request, so... But him going there, that doesn't necessarily make it penance for his past. Maybe, yeah, maybe it's unfinished business based. And that's a more captivating idea, that it's hinting at the rest of his story. Maybe that's what they mean here by his memory is suddenly suspect. What I'm thinking, guys, is we'll be going to Barbanissos, and we will hear very specifically what Mabon did there, and I think we'll hear what horrible things he did before his redemption at the hand of the court. I think they've done a lot that's shown him to be a very, very nice and wonderful character, and I think there'll be a bit of a teardown as we go forwards, and I'm really excited for that, to be honest, because I think it will... Because it's very easy to say, oh, this guy used to be evil here, now let's look at all the nice things he did. But I think the only honest thing to do now is to really look at what the evil things he did were as well. So we've got like this really cool balance, you know. So yeah, I think we'll wrestle with that as we go forwards. And yeah, it could be to do with Dada or... You know, I think it will definitely. It will be to do with these other Masat and the other parts of the story. I'm really excited to go to Barbanissos in the next bits of the story, for sure. You really like how they had much more cutscene in this expansion? Yeah, I was quite happy to see a cutscene there. I don't really like the Guild Wars 2 cutscenes, though. When you play at 1440p, they get up-resed and look very blurry and weird, and I don't know about the mocap and stuff. But it was okay, yeah. That said, though, I don't know, did they have loads more cutscenes in this one than normal? It was a nice surprise to have one there. Sorrow said, I don't know how concerning it is. I missed that when I did it. She's implying these Titans might not be led by a bad guy, or it's isolated and not a broader mist problem or something. Yeah, we didn't get anything. So Waiting Sorrow has a theory about where the Titans come from. And if her theory's correct, she's not even sure it's a problem. I mean, that's amazing as well. But they cut it all out. We don't get to hear any of it. My guess is that Mabon had them trapped in Bavaniso, so they didn't have access to the Bloodstone shards until he died and the barrier was lifted. Yeah, but there's not much of a story in that there, though, is it? Do you think Menzies will be Wing 8? I don't know whether it will be Menzies at all. But I think the Convergence details that they've released show it's a mountain with Coden and stuff. And the Convergence is the same as the Wing, so no, I don't think it's in the Mists. We just allowed someone into the tower who knows about its security and the scepters behind a locked door. What, you think Waiting Sorrow will steal the scepter and use it? Alright, let me look at my list here of things I was going to do. Let's keep chatting about the lore. Let's do this jumping puzzle now as well, before I completely forget about it. It feels like a good thing to try out. There is plenty more to do, guys. And so, in fact, I'm thinking now it will be on the next episode. On the top right, you can see I've got these achievements here. There are a selection of Secrets of the Obscure content pieces. Basically, so in Secrets of the Obscure, there was this achievement here called Honorary Astral Ward. So each of the big wizards in the Astral Ward had a big, side achievement you could do for them. And by completing that side achievement, you'd get a weapon. So a couple of parts ago, I showed you the Mabon one. This weapon here, we got the Strength of the Unseen. The Mabon one, where we had dialogue between Mabon and Isgaran, really cool. So there's one for every one of the wizards. There's one for Vast, there's one for Hakeem, there's one for Lyhr. So they're not all dripping in lore, as far as I can see, unless the wiki hasn't fully documented all of it. And to that, I'm not entirely sure just yet. But one of them that at least is very good is there is the Seer one, in which you get some detail about Sidoni. So I'm really excited to do that. In fact, let's do that now. I wanted to and I'll explain why we're going to do that now in a second. So here, knowledge of the Elders, right? Learn more about the Bastion of Knowledge and the Seers to acquire an ancient and powerful weapon. Sorry, the Seer, one Seer. So basically, you completed the story, the Secrets of the Obscure story, and this stuff unlocked. Now, in what happened, right, is you go to the Wizard's Tower, and you press F on... In Isgaran's room, Isgaran is a seer, obviously, there's an artifact. It looks like a long, thin tube. You pick it up, and it says, this is a weird, long, thin tube thing, and the collection starts, basically. So that's it. Then all these other bits... What do you know, by the way? We dare to open the world map, and we're in combat again. This was just doing events. There was no lore or dialogue with any of this, and I just accidentally got it as the years gone along. So, for example, assist in closing a tentacle rift in the Bastion of Knowledge. Defeat a boss in the Hall of Secrets. Defeat a boss in the Bastion of Knowledge. They're just random do events. And I've already done all of them over the year. So, we can continue the story here. Seer Artifact. A seemingly ancient item, though not much can be discerned from it. There are symbols across its surface. Perhaps someone who has studied the Seers could help. So, what we can do is, now that we've got this artifact, we can take the artifact to someone knowledgeable about Seers. Also, we have step 1 to do, which is to purchase an Essence of Knowledge. So, let's quickly do that. I did before... we're going to do this on the list. I did do this... I did verify everything before starting this stream episode. And this will only take a second, but we're about to get voice-acted conversation with Sidoni here, which will be quite cool. So let's do this. Then let's do this. Let's go over here. I gotta be honest, guys. I'm really not enjoying the way that they're characterizing Isgarin now. I think it's completely unearned. They're talking about him like he's going on about these massive hissy fits and he's ludicrously immature and having all these nutso emotional outbursts, when I've seen very little of that. And if they do end up showing him to do that stuff, then that's just a tedious, annoying character. It really feels like they've got an idea for whether they want to go with him, and they're just going to bulldoze through with it, and it's not very fun. So we'll see where it goes, but I'm feeling a bit... And I know there's going to be people that respond and say, oh no, he's terrible, look. But I don't know, there's been a mismatch there for me, I think.
I'll be happy when we're able to move.
What are we doing here? Sorry, I'm running all over the place. We just needed to go. We didn't need to do anything except speak to this guy. Here, on the bottom tab. Not the bottom tab. Jesus Christ. This one here, the Essence of Knowledge. 250 pinches of Stardust and 100 research notes. I'm glad I got those extra ones before. The Stardust, we can do this for one more collection, basically. But there you go. That's it. Again, you'll notice absolutely no dialogue. But here, hint, take the artifact to someone knowledge about the Seers. Who might be knowledgeable about the Seers? Now, this is amazing as well. We're going back to the Dermond Priory. If you remember, at launch, we had a Ra, Explorable, in which there was a different researcher interested in each of the ancient races. There was someone very interested in the Masat. There was someone interested in the Seers. And you spoke to them when you were voting for their path. So we're looking for Tranton, and I think he's here at the Dermond Priory. He might be underground. Let me just have a look here. We might need to go downstairs. Let me just check Wiki real quick. What are we doing? Knowledge of the Elders. I thought I'd left the tab open, but I hadn't. Knowledge of the... Okay. Oh, that's the weapon. Oh, hold on. Sorry, he's over here. Is it this guy? Wait, what? Oh, no. We do. We want to go downstairs. We're going to look for him just somewhere down in here, basically. Someone left a comment about how unpopulated it was in here before. Like they'd culled all the NPCs away. I don't think that was intentional or whatever. But here, you'll see they're all back here now. There's Tranton. Keep your eyes out, guys. He might be in the bottom left corner. Someone along here. He was, Tranton was doing stuff with the Shadowstone as well, was he? And he's not here.
Why is everything here written in Crichton?
Not here.
My hands say the humans say it's because Crichton is.
It can be Gix's office.
How can it be universal?
With Ogden.
Has one word for hunt.
It's weird that you could just talk to him about the legendaries you're making and not much else. Jotun are the coolest ancient race. I would agree before Dagda. Dagda demystified them to such an extent that I find them completely uninteresting now. You remember this step being bugged for a long time at launch, really? I don't know. He's not down here. Let me look at the map again. It says talk to Historian Tranton. In the Dermond Priory instance, I have a map. He would seem to be upstairs, though. But you can't go upstairs in the instance. Tranton wouldn't talk to you at launch. He'd only talk about the Shadowstone. Check the library. Oh, right, yeah, I didn't go in the middle, obviously. Good point. Maybe he's in the library. Maybe he's in the lecture room as well, like the study hall. Oh, here he is. Here he is. Nice. Good advice there. It's an honor. Tranton, I found this artifact. Any idea what it might be? And he says, let me take a look. And we say, here you go. He says, where do you get this? And we can lie. It's interesting. We can say, because remember, we got this from the Wizard's Tower. The whole thing's meant to be a secret. And we're hiding that from the Dermot Priory here. So, where did we get it? We can say under a rock, a very strange rock. We can lie. Or we can say we found it in Ra, which is a more believable lie, because obviously that's where a bunch of stuff was. I love that, by the way. So, yeah, I'm going to say in Ra. He says, I've seen similar markings before on the entrance to the Bloodstone Caves. Perhaps there's some connection. And we say, all right, thanks for your help as always. He says, let me know if you find anything interesting. So, we're going to go to the Bloodstone Caves at the Straits of Devastation. Now, Secrets of the Obscure already had another thing where I came here. Yeah, look at this download region. My God. Sorry, guys. We're going to do it main. With the full speed here on the main loading screen. Yeah, there was something else I came here for already. And I feel like I saw Sidoni here. As a part of the original, oh god, is it left or right? I always forget. Hold on, let's see here. Right, we need to come up in this direction here. And then it's in the cave here. I can't remember what it was. I feel like I spoke to Isgarin here, and he said, yeah, there was a bloodstone here, but we moved it. I feel like that's what Isgarin said when we came here. But turns out there's a second thing, which is this. And here, we're going to meet Sidoni. We're going to see a ghost of Sidoni. And Sidoni is going to be a full-blown Massart model here. It's going to be the model ripped from Guild Wars 1. We're going to hear Sidoni's voice. Now, remember, the Guild Wars 1 lore established that the Seers were essentially genderless entities. So I think in some dialogue they sound like a man. In other dialogue they sound like a woman. In some dialogue they call him a he. In some dialogue they call him a she. It's interesting, and it would be very easy to say, oh, this is Culture Wars stuff. This is, you know, all that kind of new stuff that ArenaNet has been talking about, and, you know, people go on and on and on about. But, you know, it's from Guild Wars 1, really, all of this stuff about the genderless nature of the Seers. So we'll see how they're interpreted here. They're presented here. There you go, look, this is... Oh, no. That's not ripped out of Guild Wars 1, is it? That looks way different to the Guild Wars 1 one. Or it looks way better than the Guild Wars 1 one. It looks Jin-like again, but it's so cool. Man, that looks way better than I thought it was going to. Obviously, it's got like the ghost effect on it, but it looks really good. So here, this is Legendary Sidoni the Shadowkeeper. Legendary, level 80, and we're obviously scaled down a bit here, so it looks very intimidating. So here is Sidoni.
Right by our side to quell the beast of turmoil. Stand with me, children. Stand with me, forgotten. The sergeant dwarves. Right by our side. The Elder Dragons bring terror to our world, but together we can protect ourselves. Alone we will be brought to ruin and bone. Tyria destroyed. But if we fight back as one, we can claim the world as ours. Our magic will not be their game. Cut down their champions, follow their places of refuge. Until we can rest, neither can they.
Okay, so this is pretty fascinating. What we've got here is Sidoni calling to the ancient races for unity to do war against the Elder Dragons in the previous cycle. What's really interesting about this, and I bring you back to that comment at the start of this stream, right? The From Software thing, stuff isn't dated, you can't really put a time on it. Here we have Sidoni saying we should all meet up and fight the dragons. Sidoni is advocating for the alliance, perhaps even originating that alliance. Massart, Forgotten, Seers, the lot of them, against the Elder Dragons. But we know later, through the other dialogue and through what Mabon was saying, Sidoni also is the one that bails out of this. So Sidoni the Seer got them all together, and we don't have dates, but I assume this scene happens first. And then second, once they've agreed, okay, we're going to put our lives on the line, we're going to fight against the dragons, Sidonia suddenly U-turns on it and says, no, we're not, and pulls the Seers out. And there's that huge fight, loads of Masart get slaughtered. Mabon looks upon the crimson, the sunset in the morning, or whatever it was he said. Loads of them die, Forgotten included. So the Masart now are really fucked off with the Seers. And then eventually there's a war declared, and so on and so on and so on, like Mabon was musing about. So what I'm trying to be talk to you guys about here, right, is this achievement, Honorary Astral Ward. On the one part of this achievement, you get the Masart story. And in there, you hear all about how the Seers left the Alliance. Meanwhile, in this part, we hear about how the Seers formed the Alliance. So... like, it's very obscure and obtuse and difficult to sort of get at, but I think that's the point, right? Like, we literally have two sides of it here. So anyway, you now might be wondering, well, where does this achievement go? Right, it's unlocked these. Shard of Decay, defeat Tequatl, defeat the Claw of Jormag, defeat the Shatterer, defeat the champions of the Elder Dragons. You'll notice not just Zaitan stuff, but the Corteria Wild Bosses. I obviously can't just do those. They're on different timers and stuff. I will endeavour to do that between this and the next part, but listen, guys... once you do these, you just speak to the Sidonia again. And there is a little bit more Sidonia dialogue, but all he says is, hey, thanks for doing that. That's it. He just says thanks. So you don't get anything super tangible there. I think the real thing that ArenaNet are doing with this is they're showing you get the two parts of the story. The Seers originating this alliance and then bailing on it, right? So we've got the juicy stuff. All this dialogue is by far the most of it. And what I've demonstrated, these were just random events. It was just picking up an artifact, getting this, basically. So, yeah, but then I will have the knowledge of the Elders. And the actual skin you get, by the way, is kind of interesting. The dwarf one's quite cool. And actually hints at some other dwarves being around, by the way, related to Lyhr. This is the Lyhr one. Oh, sorry. The Lyhr one... oh, I might have de-eyeballed it. Hold on. It's here. The Scales of Dragomir. And it asks you to do... oh, I can't find it. Anyway, there's a big thing. The Forgotten one looks like it should have a lot of lore. It takes you around ore doing events and stuff. But I don't think it really has any, almost. It's hard to see. I don't know whether it's just the wiki hasn't documented stuff or what. But some of these have almost no lore at all, which is a shame. But finally, there's this one, which is about Turai Ossa. And again, this is really quick and easy. But you know how it said no new Wayfinders have been named for like hundreds of years? Did you guys know that Turai Ossa was named a Wayfinder? This blows my mind. I missed this during Secrets of the Obscure. So let's do this one. This one's quite short, okay? We need to purchase an Essence of the Obscure from the faction provisioner at the Bastion of the Obscure now. So let's go do that real quick. And so you'll see each gives you a weapon, and then at the end I think you get a cape for having done all of this. Let's go to the Bastion of the Obscure. It's quite well set up, you know, one Bastion per achievement, per skin, per race. They do refer to themselves as Forgotten after a certain period of time with humans. Yeah,
supplies are dismal. I suspect we'll need...
oh my god, that's that guy's voice. I thought he was new for Janthir Wilds, but he's here.
Weapons in the research labs.
Alright. So if we go to here. Alright, the Essence of the Obscure. Let's grab that. There's no dialogue with that, obviously. Right. We got an Echo of the Past. This was a strange object dropped by one of the Cryptists. They're not going to stop talking, are they? We got a strange object dropped by one of the Cryptists we destroyed while fighting in its possession. Perhaps someone at the Bastion of the Obscure could tell us more about this. So, we want to learn more about this thing we found by speaking to Head Experimenter Rhiannon. So let's see. And again, I don't know what I've done here, guys. I had it all up on my other screen. Echoes of the Obscure. Okay. Head Experimenter Rhiannon can be found at the Riftworks. So in here, in the room. We probably want to unmute the dialogue again now because they might speak to us. Let's see, where are you? So this was dropped by a Cryptis originally? That's quite interesting. Oh. In this room? This whole place was so cool. Oh my god. Huh. What we're looking for is... I think we might need to go up. Oh no, it says that they just walk around in the hall. So actually, the screenshot that is on Wiki might not really matter because they walk around. Oh god. But where though? Is it possible they leave the hall and it's one of these people? Because they're all patrolling all over. No. And is it possible it's the end of an event? I did scout ahead and I believed... Oh, here we go. Oh, it's you. You have the event over your head. Oh.
I'm tuning the heart of the
we might have to do
obscure
this then.
Scan for signs of possession. If a cryptis is detected, the host's emotions will be neutralized, starving the demon and drawing them out.
Their emotions will be neutralized. Is that safe?
Don't worry. The effect should only be temporary. Hopefully.
I tried to draw them out. Okay. So let's see what we got here. So look, here it is. We have the heart of the obscure, messing with emotions again here. Okay. Still not used to pistol at all. In fact, why am I even on pistol? I'm sure I had a hammer on. Jesus Christ, this thing's tanky. Purge corruption. Wow, the brake bar's going down slow, but we can get it. Okay, now we need to kill this, I guess. The incarnation of the parasite. Okay, good. We've broken combat and swapped to a better weapon now. Okay, well, we got one. That guy's doing that. It's funny, the juggernaut effect on me here. It's crazy. Don't you love accidentally swapping weapons right before entering combat? It's the best. Yeah, it's funny because I was just talking about
Trust nobody.
How I would
Not
use
even
that
yourself.
on NG. It's very rare for me to accidentally, I would say. But there it is. It did just happen. Look how much quicker we could just rip through him on the hammer. It's insane. Get both of those guys. Oh, and then kill this. Okay.
Trust nobody. Not even yourself.
Whoopsie. Oh, that was the biggest waste I could possibly have done. This is insane. With the elite. Oh, well, whatever. I really wanted to land that Wart 5, but no such luck. Well, there's nobody else to interact with. 6 minutes remaining. Anybody there? Oh my god, my visuals are bugged on that. That's interesting. Look at that, illuminating ammunitus. 3 out of 55 lanterns. 3. Well, there's one. We probably need to cleanse 2 more guys, at least. Oh, there's people upstairs, are there? Oh, this is so cool. You guys have been just bang on with immediately. Someone will know. Oh my god, I got a 17k hit there on that. Yeah, we want one more. So oh, there you go. Yeah, nice. Look at all these people up here. Oh no. Well, that's alright. I still absolutely adore this Sky Scale skin. I mean, look at this. So good.
It's the others who are being controlled, not me.
Okay, and the last one. I'm not sure if my quickness is speeding up my special action here, but I like to think it is. It's so cool to have the Jinn from the Astral World here helping us out. Ta-da!
The prototype seems to have worked in the short term, but I worry about its long-term effects. For now, I'll get the victims to safety and monitor them closely. Thank you.
Well, yeah, but first talk to me about my thing. Damn it! Okay, we'll just follow her until eventually she decides she wants to speak. Because she's not going to be in the hall now, which makes me think that we're going to have to wait for her to leave and then come back into the hall. The disaster here is she's going to create a portal and despawn now, and I'm not going to know where she is. And she's only going to pop back up in like 20 minutes or something, which would be the worst and kill this thing, or we're not going to be able to see it. But this is really cool. I love Turai. Turai is one of my favorite characters, and I didn't realize they'd expanded on him. Here we go. Wayfinder. It seems as though we may have a brief respite from the cryptid's attempts to repossess our... to possess our researchers, but we must stay vigilant at all times. And we say, of course. I did have a question for you, if possible. And she says, if you can make it quick, certainly. I found something, and I'm not sure what it could be. And she says, you found something? Where? Let me take a look. Well, I was fighting some cryptids, and the spiritual center... Sorry, in the spiritual center, and picked it up. She says, it is odd, as though it comes from another time or place. Strange things end up in this bastion, but I will say it reminds me a bit of someone who visited us once. A man named Turai. And we say, Turai? As in Turai Ossa? And she says, indeed, Turai Ossa, a storied figure for many. He was here at one point, whether in spirit or not, I could not say. And we say, well, do you know what he was doing here? And she says, I couldn't say for sure, but I believe he left a journal that Isgarin took. Maybe check his quarters in the tower? Thanks for the information. So, now we've unlocked the ability to interact with a little extra something in Isgarin's quarters. So, let's go do that. So, yeah, the story of this guy, if you guys don't know, Palawa Joko was taking over all of Ilona. He had dammed the river Elon. He was starving the people of Vabi. Everyone was dead, basically, except a few holdouts in Corner. And Turai was their leader. And Turai, basically, with his back against the wall, went in one-on-one combat with Palawa Joko and won. They were fighting on a bridge. This is another bonus mission pack thing, just like the Saul story. They're fighting on a bridge with everyone looking over, and Turai beat him. But the question is, you can't really fully kill the Lich, so they found some process to throw him in a tomb and lock him in there, so Palawa would be gone and unable to do anything. So, at that point, Turai founded the, whoa, why can't I think of their name? The Order of Shadows? Why am I saying... What? Why am I getting that so wrong? Why do I feel like that's wrong in my head? The Order of Whispers. Fucking hell. The Order of Shadows are the alternate version. Yeah, the Order of Whispers. Jesus, major brain fart there. So he founds the Order of Whispers to watch over the tomb. And he's a hero. He's the leader of... He's just the greatest hero in all of Alolan history. He's amazing, right? But later in life... And he has a kid, a son. later in life, he continues craving more, and he believes that he can do more for his people. He believes in ascension, so he takes them, even though this is their happily ever after, the story should end. Instead, he takes a bunch of his people north, up past the desolation, into the Crystal Desert, where effectively they all die. So he's this great hero that makes a huge mistake later in life and leads tons of his kinsmen to their death in the Crystal Desert. And his ghost gets lost there in the desert until the events of Guild Wars 1. So he's this great character, this tragic hero. Love him. He's a really, really cool character. But there is this question of how they learned to seal Joko away. Like, where would they actually figure out how to do that? And Secrets of the Obscure basically explains that he met with these guys at the Wizard's Court. Seriously. Turai was here, and we'll learn this now, I think. No, that's Dagda, not interested in you, and that icon. Is this his Garen's quarters? A Wizard's Folly, not that one. Here we go, Turai's Journal. This is now available. This is so cool that they've revealed this, that Turai had this bit of the story. So Turai visited these guys at some point. This was pre-Joko's defeat. Listen, forward. This journal is preserved as a part of his Garen's collection of written relics. These documents display the thoughts and of a poignant member of Tyrian history, whether they interacted with the court or not. Turai Ossa, who was the 12th Wayfinder before that title was revoked after his failed ascension, wrote in this journal during his brief stay in Amnitas. So Turai was a Wayfinder, and after he fucked up with the whole ascension thing, they took it off of him. I wonder if he was inspired by events here to do that. Anyway, so here, there's a bit of Turai lore in Secrets of the Obscure. How cool is this? This strange, ostentatious place, writes Turai. The Wizard's Tower, Isgaren tells me. I have not been here long, nor do I expect my journey will allow me to stay longer than a dusk or two. Isgaren showed himself to me, pretending to be a djinn named Akeem. Thinking he was some god eager to feast on my desperation in this constant fracas against Palawa, I conceded and offered my life in trade for Elona's freedom. He laughed, claiming not to be some slaughterous deity, then asked if I would share my woe. So what we have here is Isgaren hid himself as a djinn, which he still is doing now, right? But he's even calling himself Akeem. And this is years ago, by the way, but I think at this point Akeem is already long dead. So Isgaren appears before Turai. Turai's got this big problem on his hand. Turai immediately thinks that Isgaren's evil, but Isgaren's not evil. He says, no, I don't want your life. Just tell me what's wrong. And so Turai says, I told Isgaren of my plan to attack the autocrat. Joko, this is. To which Isgaren expressed doubt. Not doubt for my ability to win in 1v1 combat on the bridge, but doubt for actually being able to kill the Lich completely. Like, you can win the fight, but he's a Lich, he will be back. So what do we do about that? Isgaren bid me to return to his home, this place, the Wizard's Tower. Isgaren opened a portal before my very eyes, without spoken incantation or rhyme. Maybe flawed in judgment, I did not hesitate. And when we stepped through the portal, we were among these very halls. Like, I imagine Turai sat right here. It's very cool, isn't it? We were among these very halls, dimly lit, with only the sounds of shoes against marble. Oh, that's a great image, isn't it? My bearings were only confused when Isgaren, not Akeem, revealed himself as another being. He revealed himself to actually be a seer, although Akeem was real and was living a very, very long time ago. He led me to his room. So, by the way, so let's just pause here. There seems to be a thing where Isgaren really liked Akeem. Wasn't it Akeem they said that they were courting? I think Isgaren and Akeem were in love. Or was it Isgaren and Vass that were in love? I'm not sure, one of them. But Akeem died way back. So there you go. So he led me to a room. And so it's kind of this sad thing that years later Isgaren would use Akeem's visage to appear before the people of the world. And indeed is still choosing a djinn. It's like he loves the djinn and the way that the djinn looked and all that or something. And there's something as well about Isgaren is defending Tyria, is like bound to Tyria as a place and wants to close the... And that's what the djinn are all about, you know, like they're bound. So I think Isgaren would like the djinn because they're bound to Tyria or bound to a thing or whatever. Like, do you guys get what I mean? I think there's something cool there, and I wonder if ArenaNet specifically wrote that in. Anyway, he led me to a room with a young woman fixed at a table in the center. Books and scrolls created a small fortress around her. She was human, but not Alonian. She recognized me immediately, and she introduced herself as Asphodel IV. Now, I don't know who Asphodel IV is. I've never heard of an Asphodel. I've never heard of Asphodel 1, 2, or 3. As far as I know, this is it for Asphodel lore. I haven't been on the wiki and, like, looked. But that's quite interesting. There's a person here that ArenaNet have gone so far as to name. They could have just written this story as generic, oh, a person in the library helped me. But no, this is Asphodel IV. And she seems in the know. Anyway, Asphodel asked if does this have something to do with Livia's immortality and all that shit? I don't know. I don't think so. Asphodel asked if Palawa Joko was dead. She was expectant, I think. Isgarin explained what I'd told him, and she returned to her table. They informed me that killing him may not be easy, but trapping the Lich's soul would be easier. Asphodel, that aberrant, restless woman, is currently collecting as many volumes on entanglement magics as she can find, and she will help me read through their archaic texts later. Although I can't speak at this place, or return with Asphodel and her many books, Isgarin hopes that I may be inspired. So he calls Asphodel an aberrant woman. Aberrant and restless. She's a human, she's not from Elona. Aberrant and restless. It kind of feels like she might matter on some level. I don't know. But there, so what this essentially is Secret of the Obscure explains that Turai got the knowledge to imprison Palawa from these guys. And again, remember, this is Secret of the Obscure. They're introducing this to us newly. So they're doing everything they can to tie it into old lore and explain that it was there the whole time, kind of thing. So it's a clever idea, and I like it a lot. So then we can combine... So each of these steps we've done has given us an artifact. Or a fragment of an artifact. And we can dump them all in the Mystic Forge now with an Ascended inscription, which I crafted before this episode of the stream. And we will get the Eternal Blade, which was kind of big Guild Wars 1 prestige, which is quite cool. It's going to be annoying, though. So if I just do this and double-click, please highlight the... Here you go. So the Echo of Turai, the Essence of the Obscure, and the Echo of the Past. If you lose these items halfway, ArenaNet had to go and code in a whole vendor that will sell them back to you and all this stuff. But if you just do the achievement all in one, you're not going to fall into that trap. And there you go. So that's that done. So travel to the Dermot Priory in Lornar's Pass and infuse the artifact with the Heart of the Priory. Because that's Turai's artifact. I wonder if that has an interesting flavor text. No? I don't think we're technically holding it here. So back to the Priory. I know Secret of the Obscure had a bunch of these things coming back here. I hope Janthir Wilds has a couple more that I just haven't spotted yet. Yeah, and the inscription you need to craft is an Ossa inscription, which is like martial stats or something. No one's going to use because the RPG is broken and the buildcraft is broken and blah, 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 blah. But they do at least get you to do that. And the Ossa inscriptions, they're named after him, or Turai Ossa. Or I guess his family. You could say Varesh as well and everyone in between. But here, charge Turai's artifact with the power of the Priory. And we're done. So that's Echoes of the Obscure. And we get the Eternal Blade. And we've now done 2 of these. So that's how easy a lot of them are. Obviously, this Seer one, I have to kill those 3 world bosses. So I'll look into that. As for the others, I don't know, something you guys might like to do. Check out Honorary of the Astral Ward. That's Secrets of the Obscure. And again, there's one that has you going around collecting lore fragments in ore, but I don't think you actually read anything. It's a real shame. You just pick up generic items called lore fragments, and you don't actually discern anything from them. But yeah, it feels like this is something I should have put at the end of the Secret of the Obscure playthrough. But unfortunately, I just saw that world bosses and stuff were involved and going back to a bunch of events already done, and it didn't look too appetizing. So yeah, so that's it for today, I think, guys. What I will say is next time, join me for whatever else I can find. So let's be clear with Janthir's side stories. We have the Builder-Quaggan thing, the Lowland Wisps thing. Star-Crossed Lovers is about a Highland and a Lowland Coden. And their history, maybe, and their interactions. And I really want to play that. And then there's this. You guys have been desperate for me to play this. Getting the crew together apparently is really good. But we have to be an adventure to start that. So there is content. At least 1 episode more content, maybe 2, and again, as I say, maybe 3. So we will play that as it goes forwards. I would love to hear anything you guys have to say in the comments as normal. I'd love to put a Q&A section in the next one. I'll probably start the next episode with that jumping puzzle as well. And yeah, on we march. I'm actually kind of thinking, now that we've done that side-only stuff and the Turai thing there, we're kind of rounding out, because basically I've got a very concrete idea of everything that Janthir Wilds has now, and I just want to have that same concrete idea with Secrets of the Obscure. I don't know, maybe there's some side stuff in Secrets of the Obscure in which we see Isgarin being a teenager and characterized very differently, in which case this stuff they're now doing makes more sense or something, or is substantiated in some way. I don't know. But it'd be nice to have the full thing before we go off having opinions. So yeah, that's it. Thank you guys. It's been lots of fun, and I will see you on the next one. Oh, it's weird, we're signing off with Lyhr here. Very, very soon. Take care. Tomorrow is the next episode of Zeus. I believe I'm finished with Athens, and we're on to a very cool parent city, Tiryns, which is the mythological home of Hercules, which is pretty cool. And there's a lot about Ares there. I'm pretty sure that's the town. Anyway, thank you, everybody. Hope you enjoy. I'll see you next time. You put a comment a little late on part 10. Do I still read those? Yeah, I get them all. I get every... Even if you leave a comment on a very old video, I will get it. Don't you guys worry. Alright. Take care. Bye-bye, guys.